What is up, everyone? What is up? What is up? Happy Thursday. It's Thursday, right? I don't know, all the days kind of seem to blend together after a certain point. How's everybody doing? I feel like I'm not even saying that. It is Wednesday. It is not Wednesday. Yeah, okay. Do you think I can run multiple GPUs for maximum FPS in Minecraft? Not really. So, multiple GPUs isn't really much of a thing anymore. Can you do it? Yes, but it's not really as efficient and it doesn't scale as well as people think. On NVIDIA, you have to use SLI, which they've kind of stopped supporting. On AMD, you need Crossfire. It exists, but who really uses it? And then the other issue is, so you have to bridge between the GPUs for a lot of their settings. What about Intel Arc? I don't think Intel Arc has a multi-GPU framework. Now, you can use multiple GPUs in a GPGPU fashion, general purpose graphic compute unit. So like, you can use them in, like, say, an LLM system like I'm doing right now with my 5060 Ti and a 3050, and they're able to do different workloads, or you can even use them in tandem and send them through different loads using OpenCL and stuff like that. But, nah, not for gaming. It's not as good as people think, because the problem is, see, when it comes to gaming, so you need the frames to all come back out to the monitor. So what's going to end up happening is you're going to have it both render on the cards, but then it still has to shoot over to the other card. So that's where that bridge comes in play. Well, most of the cards now don't have a bridge, so it's going to have to go through the PCI Express bus. So there could be congestion and other stuff going on. Yeah. Hey, Poppers! Hey. Hey. We had to get a biopsy on my other dog. He's got a little, lump under his shoulder. Not this one. This dickhead's fine. They're apparently calling to talk to me on Sunday, so we should know more. Hope your top PCI 8 slot works. Yeah. Hope so, too. I've been trying to build that for a while. So I've been enjoying the new job. The biggest issue that I have is I'm so used to moving so fast at my old job that I feel like I'm standing still at the new job. Like, I don't feel like having idle time. But unfortunately, that's how it is in this industry. There's periods of idle time. And it's different because before I was doing several changes a week. Now I'm barely doing a few a month. And I'm having discussions and still trying to figure out the politics of all the people you have to meet and everything and all of that. And at the same time, I am getting fed all sorts of fun news from various people that were my friends over at where I used to work. Oh boy, it's turned into a serious shit show over there. I hate to be laughing, but like, I left at like the perfect time. I literally stayed on long enough for them to be like, are you gonna give me a bonus? Okay, no. You're gonna give me some BS about how I'm not performing enough, even though I'm not the only one that was doing like a lot of the coding and infrastructure and all that? Cool. I'm gonna go over here, get the promotion that I've been asking y'all for 2 years, take my 40% raise. Look, I just looked at my paycheck, because we get paid monthly, and, it's nice. It's nice. Like, I'm actually gonna be able to pay off debts completely in a few months. Nice. Cushions on your headphones are cool. Thank you. Yeah, I got them because the old ones were too flat. It's like the transition from military to civilian. Yeah, idle time does kill. But yeah, I'm happy. Have you tried gaming on CubesOS? You can't really game on CubesOS. There's no real GPU pass-through, and it doesn't really allow for graphics drivers because it, a lot of those stuff are security issues in the context of CubesOS. So CubesOS is not meant for gaming. You don't know. The most you may want to try in terms of gaming is containerizing it with maybe a flat pack. Soon you'll see Chief in a Honda Fit. The fuck you will! But yeah, I'm hearing like I've had so many confirmations of how toxic my last job was when I left, and the confirmation of just like I've had several people come and confirm to me like their promotions are not really done on meritocracy. It's favoritism and politics. That breeds incompetence. That's how you get toxic workplaces. That's how people, the best people, leave work. I'm trying to put my thoughts together on why I left work and put that into a video in the near future. I'm working on a few video scripts actually right now, because there's a video I'm working on right now trying to explain. Basically, I have a backlog of ideas of things that I've been wanting to work on for years, but never really had the energy to do because I was so burned out from the last job. Like, trying to explain the basics of cryptocurrency from a cybersecurity aspect so that you can understand it when you're trying to, you know, look at it from a technology aspect. I'm not talking about this hype, you know, crypto, we're going to go to the moon, BS attitude. I'm talking about explaining the different aspects of the technology. These are the potential things that, you know, you should be aware of. So that way, like, when you're, like, when somebody says what a crypto jacker is, you actually know what that is. So when people are saying, oh, it's actually using your resources to mine, you'll actually know what that means versus when somebody's using a node to send transactions and things like that. So, yeah. Is this what you do for work now? Do you have any previous experience? No, I kind of, at work, what I'm doing now is cybersecurity still. I'm a senior cybersecurity engineer at the new place, but right now I'm kind of their CrowdStrike SME, along with the, mostly working on CI/CD, security and, optimizations and stuff like that. Abby Arch broke on me. Well, that's what you get! You filthy Arch user, you! How's it going, Prisms? I'm wanting to get into forensics. Forensics is a kind of interesting thing to get into, but it's also a very niche field to get into. It's in demand, but it's not as in demand, if that makes sense. Arch users won't touch grass. Arch users won't touch showers. I think the last time Abby showered was probably when we had that pool party at DEF CON. I'm good. I'm on my way back from a party with a load of UK VCs. VCs. What do you mean VCs over there? The U.S. almost invaded because of the oil slick. Look. You never tell the USA there's oil. Like, look, I'm betting the reason why the U.S. military tries to recruit in high school so much is because of oily faces on teenagers that have acne. And they're trying to get that oil. Oh, venture capitalists, gotcha. What's up, Bengali? Just finished work. Nice. Yeah, I still gotta install this GPU here. I still gotta set up that. I gotta, get back to working on, some of the lab stuff. I had to fix a weird issue. So zero trusting has been really interesting because everything's coming out of my VLAN the nodes are on. I have to whitelist everything I'm trying to do. So what's interesting is the laptop that I'm testing zero trusting on with my Parrot OS, because it's going through Twin Gate and then back in, basically, so it's like doing deep packet inspection there. I had to open the ports up on the connector for it to be able to talk to the NAS using SMB, NFS, and all of that stuff. So that was kind of an interesting lesson. I'm learning as I go. Are you a soap bar guy or a liquid soap guy? I am a soap bar guy, but not like cheap soap. Like the cheap, you know, filthy chemically soap. I at least, at minimum, use Dr. Squatch. That's what I use mostly right now. Primarily because I forgot to, you know, stop my subscription and I've got a backlog of like 12 bars right now. So every time I go to DEF CON, I just throw a new bar in there, and then maybe I leave one behind. Also, why not Tailscale or Netbird? So I'm going to be talking about that in the video, but I'm trying to build a true enterprise type setup. And Tailscale, I played with it as well as a few others, and the speeds were just kind of inconsistent here and there. Twin Gate was consistent, and Netbird just... When you're trying to scale, it's not going to work as well for what I'm trying to do. And I know people are like, but it's not open source. The reality is, when you start working in businesses and enterprise, you'll realize, look, enterprise. I don't have anything against open source, but it's about a support model. You have a TP link router. Shall I be worried? I'm from the UK. No. Only the US banned the foreign routers. Is there an app for formatting NVMe? Yeah, it's built into Linux and Mac. And Windows. It's just the regular format app. Do not do a zero out wipe. Like, don't do that whole, like, write the disk out with zeros. It will kill the write life cycle of your SSD. And the other issue is, with NVMEs and all solid-state disks, it's not like magnetized disks where you can zero out the disks, like, 7 times over, and forensically it may be clean. When it comes to solid-state disks, what you have to do is physically destroy the disks. That is the actual recommended way of protecting company data when you are refurbishing machines. Like, you have to, like, stick them through a shredder or take a hammer to them, pry the actual chips off, stomp them with your foot. Yeah. It had a malware. In most cases, just wipe it clean with a regular formatting software. Like, you can boot a Linux up with gparted, set up a new partition table, and then just wipe it clean with like an extended FAT or extended 4 or whatever. Dealer's choice. Thoughts on Lock Lizard? Which one's Lock Lizard? I haven't really kept up on a lot of this shit. Although I did have a meeting with CrowdStrike and their stuff. Lock Lizard. Their document DRM software. That one? Haven't really played with it. I mean, I've seen stuff like this, but stop screen sharing and screenshots. A lot of that stuff is built into like Zscaler, Seraphic. Seraphic is probably the best way when you're doing screen sharing and stuff like that. But that's browser specific. Revoke documents and users, that's built into a lot of Office 365 and Google Docs already. Experience self-destruct. I mean, Expiry is built into them. Self-destruct, not so much, but I haven't played with it. But the question is, see, here's the issue. Oh, no, wait, hold on. What's their pricing model look like? So here's their issue. The second, this is what always concerns me whenever you get a product that does this. Okay? Do you notice how I go to their website, purchase our DRM software, and the price is contact sales, contact sales? You know what that tells me? If you have to ask, it costs too much. Oh, they're going to be charging you out the ass for this shit. And then the other issue is, oh, you're going to have to get a secure PDF reader. So now your clients are going to have to go and get that approved. So it's not like they can just go ahead and get that approved. They're just going to, if you're in a secure environment, like the last company I was at, they're going to have to get that app approved by GRC, which may take a week or two. Thinking of moving from Windows to Linux, do I need to do the checksum? Need to? No. Recommended? Yes. Is PTM 7050 good for heat dissipation? I'm not familiar with that one. My friend who works at Amazon Commerce told me today that after their recent incidents, they paused dev for a month and are only writing tests and guardrails. I can believe it. They've, gone a little bit derpy with their AI usage. Well, let me put it this way. As we talked about last night, developers are ultimately responsible for what they allow their AI to do. And developers have gotten a little bit too AI stupid, where they're letting their AI do a lot of stuff without checking in on that. And wasn't it AWS that deleted all of production because the AI suggested it and they didn't check it through? I think that was them. What distro? I'm on Pop! OS 2204. I'll probably upgrade when Pop! OS 2604 comes around. Because I do like Pop! OS. I don't want to hear the bullshit about, well, what about the age verification shit? It's not their fault. They're in a shitty state. And they sell hardware. And they're going to get the boot of the government up their ass if they don't. Ever heard of Fruit Love Island? Yes, we have. Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. That's the one that Sora was doing a lot of shit. Google TV, Twitch was like, he's offline, I had to go to YouTube to watch you. I think I need to force stop the Twitch app. Well, yeah, and Google TV. Yeah. But yeah, I got, yeah, it's so great to be at this new job. I feel a lot more relaxed than I did at the last job. I don't feel as productive, though. But that's not really my fault. It's the fault of how slow the company moves. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because the last job, they moved so freaking fast. But, oh my god, I've heard of, like, such headaches going on at the last place that I hate to, like, enjoy the Schadenfreude too much at my friend's expense, but I'm enjoying the Schadenfreude, because I'm like, I'm out, bitch! You don't have that mess! And some of these people that are, like, finally waking up and smelling the coffee were the people like, dude, why are you leaving? It's not so bad here. And I'm like, dude, I can see the writing on the wall. I saw the writing on the wall when they started doing return to office. Oh, by the way, I have a video talking about Zero Trust Network Access, how all that works, when I talk about Twingate. And one of the side effects is it pokes a giant, massive hole in return to office arguments. So look forward to that. Doesn't matter what laptop I use, as I currently use a Surface Pro. Well, it depends. When you're going to whack somebody over the head... No, but it seriously depends on, like, what are you trying to do with it? Like, look, if you're just trying to do basic stuff, no, it doesn't matter. If you're trying to do, like, development work, I would say get a laptop that at least allows you to plug into multiple monitors. The people that are developers that only work on one single monitor, what the fuck is wrong with you? Generally speaking, you'll want, like, at least on Mac, Windows, and Linux, at least 16 gigabytes of RAM. 32 if you do, like, really productive kind of things. 64 if you're doing some serious work. Like, I got 64 on most of my stuff. I mean, like, and the amount of cores is more dependent upon how, what you're going to be doing with it. Is R99980X okay for cybersecurity? You can use a Core i3 and be fine for cybersecurity. The question is what you're doing with it, is what I'm getting at. Like, if you're just going to be sitting there doing reports in cybersecurity, you can do fine with an iPad. If you're going to be doing, like, actual, like, virtual machines and, you know, detonating things inside of there, you want at least, like, maybe 6 cores, 8 cores. I mean, I'm running a 5950X, but that's because I have a big boy that I run a lot of virtual machines on. You can use the accelerometer to make smashing a person in the head more fun. Yes, you can. You can use the accelerometer in a MacBook to add sounds. Like, you can actually do a thing with your Mac that when you open the lid and you smack it, you can make it go, ow. Or, if you're creative, you can modify it to make it go, ah! Do you use GNS3? I haven't in many years. Dual monitor is the ideal setup. 3 monitors if the multitasking is insane. I have 3 monitors here. I feel like I need another. I can fit one more right there. Maybe one more there. Give me all the monitors! I technically have 5 monitors here, but 2 computers. Main OS, Windows, VMware, 6 Windows for Red Team Research. Why using VMware on Windows? Just use Hyper-V. Just get Windows Pro and do Hyper-V. Trust me. You're cutting your balls off there if you're using VMware. Hyper-V if you're on Windows, because you want that. Type 2 is the one that I think... Okay, I always get this confused. Type 1 is the one that the hypervisor sits on top of the operating system, and it depends on the operating system for resources, so it's a little bit slower, like VirtualBox and VMware, if I recall. Type 2 is the one that interfaces directly with the hardware and is part of the operating system, like Hyper-V, libvirtkvm, Proxmox, Zen, things like that. Internal policy? Well, your internal policy is stupid. Because it's official Microsoft software. Like, this is what makes no sense to me. It's literally part of the operating system. It's a feature of Windows. You're literally going in to add or remove features, checking a box in Windows, downloading officially from Microsoft. That is officially first-party software. So you're using third-party software. In terms of internal policy, that's an effed policy. I'm saying that from a cybersecurity stance. Because people don't know better, Hyper-V nuked my Win laptop, 11 laptop. Well, that's just because Windows 11 knows how bad it is, and just as soon as it realizes that it actually, what its purpose is, to serve you AI, it just like the little butter robot on Rick and Morty goes, oh my god, and then just commits seppuku, and then immediately tries to off itself. That is why Windows runs so horribly, because as soon as it gets alive, the AI is just giving it enough sentience to realize how horrible it is that it just wants to end everything as soon as it starts. Do data science and cybersecurity have anything similar? There is data involved with a lot of the stuff, but there's... in the Venn diagram, there's not a lot. At least as far as I know. Chat, you're more than welcome to correct me. I mean, we maybe deal with, like, SIMs and stuff like that, the data there, but I don't know about the science around that. So I've been also trying out new ways to clip all the, oh damn, I'm just getting more and more tea from the last place. Damn. Thoughts on the global push for digital age signal laws? Yeah, Meta can go suck my... Because apparently they're the ones behind the big push around a lot of this stuff, allegedly. These politicians need to go, shut the hell up. Go listen to us professionals about how bad this is. Because you know what? When... How should I put this? When we get in trouble with the law, every attorney will tell you to shut down, deal with an attorney, they're the experts with how to deal with this. Why don't they take their advice and come talk to the digital experts? They never come to the cybersecurity or whatever experts. They're just like, no, those are the tinfoil hat people. They don't know anything. And then every single time we turn around and we're like, vindication. Like, remember years ago, you know, there's probably like a closet somewhere that AT&T's probably funneling all of our data to the government. Oh, you know, you're just crazy and paranoid, Edward Snowden. You know that they have a closet siphoning all the data to the NSA. That's just one example out of many. Like, how many times do we have to get proven right? And, like, people think that we're crazy because we know enough information that we're able to infer what they're trying to do without all of the pieces that we know they have. When we know enough information, we don't have to know the specifics. We're able to infer the outcomes. That's part of cybersecurity. You can look at data, see what's missing, and be able to infer what dots are there and connect them. That's seriously part of our job. When I speak, everybody says I'm paranoid. Look, the thing I always tell people is, look, you're going to call me crazy today, but tomorrow you're going to say I was ahead of the time and apologize. And it's happened time and time again. I remember years ago, and some of you may remember this, when AI was just starting to come out, you know, into the mainstream, and I said, look, I don't care if you like this stuff or not. I don't care what your philosophical or ethical dispute is with that, and I'm not saying you're right or wrong. But if you don't learn this stuff right now, whether you're in graphic design, whether you're in software, whether you're in cybersecurity, whether you're in any field, and learn how it possibly can, if any way, be adapted to improve or alter or augment your field, you will be left behind. I said something to that effect 3 or 4 years ago at this point. We may not have known the specifics of where we would have been 3 or 4 years from then, 3 or 4 years ago, what is now today. But by God, a lot of us that actually saw that were right. And the people that were sitting over there, standing on, you know, over there like, well, you know, I don't want to use AI because it's unethical, or over there, are the people that are struggling to get a job right now. I'm not saying they were wrong. I'm not arguing with them on that point. The issue is, as I said, the cat is out of the bag. And it's been out of the bag. And now we have that reality where every piece of software, like, you can't even use Figma without AI being involved in there. Figma has an MCP, a model context protocol. Adobe Photoshop has AI built into the damn thing. I'm using Opus Clips to get the clips from my streams and stuff. So you may have noticed, like, some of the clips that have been coming out over the past couple of days on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and Instagram. Those have been used in part with AI to enhance the speech, get captions, things like that. But it is what it is. Now what I've been telling people is, you need to learn how to localize that. I've been saying that for a while. And now we saw Sora shutting down. But yeah. New laptops come with an AI co-pilot key on the keyboard. I hate that shit. I hate that shit. Okay. Let me catch up on the chat over here. Sorry, I was responding to a friend. pattern repetition. It's always been this way. Serial numbers encoded on printers since 30 years ago, though this is a different beast. Dude, they're so old, their hands shake that, so much they can't connect the dots. You know what sucks about being this side of the border? Tech companies get to do the same data, exfil, and illegal monitoring, but we don't get to participate in the class action lawsuits. Yeah, that is aft. If someone is getting started into Linux and Python, but has a background in computers, where would you suggest they start? The bottom. Wait. The start menu. I'm kidding. No, if you're trying to do Python and a bunch of other stuff, my advice would seriously be, well, Python is... Oh, thank you for that. If you are doing Python... Well, Python is agnostic to Windows, Mac, and Linux, and hell, you can even run it on some calculators and stuff like that. My advice would genuinely be, make yourself some projects. Try to figure out, like, make a calculator in Python. All of that. Now, learn some of the basic syntax to at least identify it. Now, of course, most likely you're going to probably, in this day and age, be using Claude to be making a lot of code. I will be honest with you. But you should at least know the fundamentals to know how it operates, know what libraries are, know how to modularize your code, understand Git, how to do version control with your code. Just tinker, give yourself some projects, even if it's mundane things. Like, if you go look at my Git repo on GitHub, you'll see, like, I literally made myself calculators, mortgage calculators, stuff like that. Not all of it's, like, completely correct, but you could see that I was starting to use it, and then I gave myself bigger and bigger and bigger projects to start working on. Also, VS Code is what I use for my IDE. I know there's some weird person out there that uses VI. They need to go touch grass. I forgot which one uses VI. There's someone that, like, loves VI in my server for Discord. Or is it Matrix? Maybe they're in both. Most companies are obsessed with AI balloon. Oh, yeah, the non-technical people, or even some of them slightly technical people, are way too obsessed with AI. It's like the old adage of, do you know the difference between a tech enthusiast and a tech professional? A tech enthusiast loves technology. They want it in every part of their life to optimize it and make it more efficient, and smart TVs, smart electronics, all of that. A tech professional keeps a gun next to his printer in case it makes funny noises. What am I eating? Looks like Yit's got me... It looks like a shawarma. Or something. I don't know, Scott. Yeah, looks like shawarma. With all sorts of fixings. What? Make what a sticker? Beef, lamb? I don't know. It's mystery meat. It's the meat made out of my enemies. No! It's made out of Mac users. Thank you for the super chat. Excellent, chef. I just hope that my toaster doesn't start laughing. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, we have a receipt printer for the Twitch, Kick, and YouTube. Sorry, I haven't figured out how to get the TikTok integrated. TikTok integrations suck. Yeah, you know, I left, she left, the toaster left, I shot the toaster. All right. What cat is out of the bag? Oh, yeah. My favorite is the Nike app has AI to help people buy shoes. You need an AI to help you buy shoes? Why do you need AI to buy shoes? My brain broke on that one. Captions have always been AI generated. Not necessarily. Used to have to do them manually. Tell them to buy a Mac. Who, me? I have a Mac for work. It's not here. It's upstairs. I get annoyed with the key combos on that thing. Look, it's a Mac I have to use for work. I probably would never buy a Mac for personal use. I may buy one for, like, open claw stuff down the road, but that's a whole other argument down the road. So he doesn't have to worry about the Copilot button. Oh, I don't have to worry about that. Linux laptops don't have a Copilot button. Tuxedo, System 76, Nova Custom. I'm not gonna have to worry about a Copilot button with those people. Show us something cool on your computer. Here's a cool bottle of wine. Yes, there's a wine fridge underneath my computer. Should get a wine glass. Should be drinking more. Thought the wine was vodka. If this war keeps continuing, it probably won't be vodka, but it might turn into whiskey or bourbon. Should be drinking more. Abby, you are officially one of the very few people that has seen me pretty drunk. Okay? Us going from the DEF CON pool party, taking the Tesla tunnel in Vegas to the village party for my buddy who ran the call center village to give me the secret code to go get free booze at the bar, and then we just pounding drinks. It was probably top 10 times I've been drunk in my life. I'd rank that probably a number. Okay, that was number 10. There's been a lot more. Installed Gen 2, very happy. Well, you better be happy, because now that you have Gen 2, that means you won't be touching grass. Just like them dirty arch users. You have an anarchy button? Got ultra pissed today because the software my uni uses, Lockdown Browser, only works on Windows. Ew. Yeah, for my college that I'm going to right now, because I'm trying to get my bachelor's, just to check that box, I have a cheap Lenovo laptop that I've had in my bins for years. And that I just reinstalled Windows 11 on it. Well, it had Windows 10. I put Windows 11 on it. And that's literally just there for when I take my exams. It's off otherwise. End up switching over to my data plan on my phone. The big cable box that's in the middle of the neighborhood got damaged by the local electricity utility doing maintenance. Do you use System D? Yep, I use System D. So here's the thing. I know a lot of people hate on System D, but the reality is, as much as, like, there are complaints about it, it makes a lot more sense. Especially when it comes into troubleshooting and debugging. Because now I have a central place to go digging in to the journals, the errors, and a bunch of other stuff. And I'm even using System D timers for a lot of my projects now. Do you plan on getting a master's after? I actually thought about it just for the shits and giggles of it. Just get that box checked off from WGU. Having a red button next to your desk to send a kill signal to your home lab is so helpful. That's called thermite. Wait. Does this count? I have a Craftsman tape measure. It's red. It's big. I should get like a Staples button and then like wire thermite into that. I'm so happy to land on your live. Happy to have you here, bud. Arch users are 160 years behind humanity. Whoa. You saying they're before computers? That's a little harsh, man. At very least, they're 60 years behind. Kept hearing my watch, not charge. Breaks the one thing and do it well, but it's a good system. Don't like that there's a PR for age verification signal. Yeah, but somebody will fork it and tell them to F off. Damn, it made me hungry. Have to go find some food now. Yeah, well, I got surprised with food. Alright, let's go into the review on stream section. We still got some content that the community wanted me to look at. We've got this long list over here. If you're not familiar, over in the Discord server, and technically you can also like hit me up in the Matrix server. I have to figure out a list over there. You can dump over a bunch of content for.
I'm trying to get cash, quick flash, quick jag, looking like a big bag, riding through Columbus in the M class, tint glass, burning backwoods, dropping him ass.
Kara's page tipped $5.
Thank you for that tip there. Appreciate you. $5. Thank you. $5. Thank you a lot. Didn't have to. I appreciate Kara. That caught me off guard. Yeah, if you're not aware, we have the review on stream channel inside the Discord server over here, where I and some other people in the community share different things, where we all look at different things. The general rule is videos that we look at, we generally want to keep to like about 20 minutes or less. Give or take around there. Yep. Okay, so we left over here. People forgot how to drive and it's terrifying. And by the way, the stuff that you send in doesn't all have to be tech related. It could just be some funny off the wall shit. Just make sure it's safe to watch on stream. YouTube username. My username's the same everywhere. It's Chief Geek 3D. Chief Geeked. So, Charlie Hotel, India, Echo, Frank, Golf, Yankee, Kilo, 3, Delta. So Taco Bell edible sauce packets would be acceptable. Foxtrot. Yeah, look, I'm tired. My brain went derp, okay? Alright, people forgot how to drive and it's terrifying. Hold up. There's something wrong with the browser. My ad nauseum's not working. Hold up. Hold up. Oh, that's right. I was troubleshooting, TikTok has been an absolute dick with Florp. And I think it's down to the flat pack. I'm doing some additional troubleshooting because Florp in Windows works fine, but Florp on the Linux box doesn't. And the only thing I can think of is either some tweaks I've done on the Linux side, or it doesn't like the flat packing. I don't know. But yeah, if you need to find my YouTube username or username for any of my socials, the links are in the bio. Also, forgot to mention that. Let me turn off the background music. Oh, somebody asked about the background music. The background music is music that's exclusive to me. I ran into some beat makers a few years ago, and I bought the music off of them. I have exclusive rights to it.
Now, where there are genuinely way too many...
God damn it. I just realized we forgot to do the reset pipe wire dance. Because I do a 2 PC setup. Give me 1 second here. This is not really a Linux issue per se. It's a stream issue. Because we have 2 PCs and I just have to merge the audio. And I keep forgetting to set it up. Alright, so now I gotta do the whole wake up on NVIDIA thing, and I always forget which port it comes out of.
Front.
There we go.
Front, left.
And now...
Front.
There
left,
we go.
front.
Okay, cool. Ka-choo. Could there be something that resets Pipewire every time you start a stream? Technically, it does it every time I start the computer, but here's the catch. The stream PC has to be on when I turn the machine on. So it does run when I turn the Linux box on, but if the stream PC is not on, it won't see it and it won't run it. So normally, the stream PC is off most of the time unless I'm recording content because the camera's attached to it, or I'm streaming content. Because, like, after I finish my streams, I shut these computers down. Like, they are actually off. They're not idle. They are off. Like, my end-of-night sequence is literally shut down the Windows PC, sudo apt update, sudo apt upgrade, flat pack update, shutdown. That's how I do it every night on Linux. So it's fresh every day.
We are at a point now where there are genuinely way too many people on the roads now with cars.
Car crashes and dangerous driving are seen as unavoidable. It's just an everyday part of modern life.
That's not a lane! That's a...
Do you ever, like, drive on the road and just think, like, there's too many freaking idiots that have their license that never should have had their license to begin with? Because, like, I'm kind of getting older and of the opinion that maybe we should have to retest people every few years. Like, there are genuinely people on the road that, like, should not still be on the road.
When our car is coming out. Oh, snap, sorry. Sorry, I'm on.
There are so many people that are behind the wheel that should not be anywhere near the steering wheel of a motor vehicle.
My thoughts on Gen Z drivers? There are Gen Z drivers? I'm kidding. I don't really have opinions on them. Much. Except for the... I'm not going to hold it against all Gen Z. But there was this one dumb see you next Tuesday that smashed my mirror in a Starbucks and didn't even have the kindness of letting me have a note. How the hell do you break a mirror backing out of a Starbucks? and then leave the person with $500 to fix it. Like, how do you drive slow in reverse and mess up somebody's mirror like that? And then just like, you just literally got like, oh. F that guy, I'm just gonna go on. I had a parked car once. I left a note and paid to get their car fixed. See, you're the good person. That person was a see you next Tuesday that effed up my mirror. $500 freaking dollars! Okay, maybe it wasn't 500. It was maybe like 300 or 400. Either way, it was money I shouldn't have had to spend in the first place. She went to a Starbucks, pulled out of that. I literally went to the Starbucks to just have a little business meeting, came out, and my mirror's like on the floor.
So many people are encountering.
You got distracted by One Piece. I missed a lot of stream. Is there in One Piece, did they dub the new One Piece stuff yet? I'm waiting for them to finish dubbing the rest of the stuff on Egg Island. That's where I'm at right now. I caught up all with the One Piece. That's right. I went through the entire One Piece in several months. But unlike arch users, I touched grass in between that.
Dangerous behavior on such a frequent basis that is basically.
Do you think LA drivers are bad? Drive in New York or Massachusetts.
So normal.
I lived in LA.
It's just me, but have you noticed how people have gotten exponentially worse at driving in the last few years? It seems like pretty much every time I get on the road, I have to use 110% of my brain power just to make sure that little Johnny doesn't hit me when he veers into my lane because he's watching brain rot TikToks.
Oh my God, yeah! I think people are on their phones too much when they drive.
Parking lots feel like they've practically become lawless zones. They've become like the Wild West. For example, if I have the misfortune of being in a Walmart parking lot during rush hour, I feel like my car gets hit at least 10 times as I'm trying to leave. It's like everyone thinks we're playing a fun little game of bumper cars, but lethal edition. It feels like anytime I drive my car further than 15 feet outside of my home, it's like I'm auditioning for Mad Max Fury Road, which actually reminds me of a video I saw recently where something very similar to what I'm talking about happened.
You're gonna try to go around and then...
What? No sub, dub, gatekeeping? You expect an ADHD asshole like me to only watch sub and pay attention? Nah, I do dub.
You got this! You got this! No, he speeds up! He speeds up!
You have a phone map purely for maps and calls?
Maybe I'm being dramatic and
Yeah, I
saying
have a phone mount purely for that. And like when I drive, I maybe have YouTube playing for audio background, like Phil DeFranco, maybe it's some financial audit or something like that. I'm not watching it, I'm listening to it. You know what I mean?
this, but I kind of feel
But it's
like
in
we
the
should be
background with the
accountable
map.
to for a few reasons specifically. First off, this van is using a box truck to block the road and not let anyone else pass. And from what I can tell, there is no good reason for doing
What
that.
the
only
fuck?
logical reason I can think of based off of this video is that this person wants to condemn everyone to a life of slow driving.
No, I can think of a reason. Little dick syndrome.
Because they think everyone should drive slower. It's either that or that they're a max-ranked rage baiter. Another reason that
A rage masturbator.
preferably punishable by tar and feathering, is that the van speeds up intentionally to not let anyone by. Bro is straight up gatekeeping the lane in front of him. So while I typically, in most cases, don't recommend escalating a road rage situation by speeding in front of someone and then brake checking them, in this case, it doesn't feel totally undeserved. If you're like me though, at this point in the video, you think this interaction should be finished, like it's over. I mean, the Odyssey lost, it got passed, it was great. And in my opinion, I think they should gracefully accept this defeat that they've been handed, probably by never driving a car ever again. But unfortunately, the Odyssey is a
Oh no.
to continue the battle.
Yeah! Yeah! He's gonna go around! Is he gonna go around? I think that's what he did to me! He's gonna go around! Oh, yes! Okay, we're gonna clear a distance so that we don't get in a crash. Finally!
The van tried to get in front of the other car again, which, by the way, if his point was to make everyone else drive
Little
slower,
dick syndrome indeed.
rage baiter, we could logically conclude that maybe it was for everybody's safety. Maybe he just wanted to make everyone feel safer by driving slower. If that's the case, wouldn't his whole reaction be completely contradictory to the whole purpose he was driving slow in the first place? Like his solution to someone making a dangerous situation is making the situation even more dangerous? Am I getting that right? That's what Russia does with their nukes. I think their whole thing is just threatening to nuke people and escalating situations that way in order to de-escalate them, I guess.
No, that's just vodka-fueled rage. There's a difference.
If I had to guess, he'd probably be sent to the gulag, the one with the Demogorgon in it. Which, to be totally fair, yes, that was an anecdotal type story. I mean, it's not like every bad driver is represented by this guy. I mean, as far as I'm aware, this guy isn't the president of the Bad Drivers Club. My point is that you could call this type of driving an outlier, even though I fear for my life 97% of the time I'm on the road, but we can actually empirically show that people are getting worse at driving. Let's talk about some stats. In 2011, American traffic deaths hit a 62-year low at 32,479 fatalities. Coincidentally, that's the same year that Katy Perry released her hit song, Firework. And I'm not saying that's the reason for the 62-year low in traffic fatalities.
I am.
But I'm just saying it might be worth looking into. But by 2024, that number was at about 39,939, which is the same year we got Willy's Chocolate Experience. And I feel like that right there is a great representation of how driving is going. Bad, and makes me question a whole lot of things. And as you can see with this fun little graph, within the last few years, there has been a huge increase in traffic fatalities on average. And even though there's a
we're just chilling out, watching this video about how
deaths. I mean,
drivers have gotten worse while I eat my dinner.
Already at like 28,000 or somewhere around there. And like I sort of kind of mentioned earlier, for the longest time, I felt like maybe it was just in my head that people were bad at driving. Like maybe I was making that up. I guess somehow I thought I was the problem. Like I thought I was making up all this bad driving. Meanwhile, every time I would go on a little driving adventure, it would go something like this.
Just peacefully driving home after work way. Why is she looking at me like it's my fault? Anyways, let's just keep driving and go home. Fast forward to a few minutes later.
This is exactly why I have a dash cam, by the way.
Pay attention to this guy.
Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Oh, damn.
Hopefully I can go home now without any more of that.
The funniest part of this video to me is when the lady does the little hand thing you do when you're mad at someone because they did something wrong.
Thought drivers are why you had a CCW. No, that's just because I'm American.
I feel like it's not even debatable. Like it is just factually she was in the wrong. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people do where they are clearly in the wrong, but then they blame someone else for not being right, I guess. Like the amount of times I've gotten to a stop sign at least 15 minutes before another car, and then this car decides to go before me, and
Hans, you have to understand, I'm so American that when I play with myself, I have my gun in the other hand. That way, I'm guaranteed that something's gonna go off if I don't finish one other thing.
and when I try to go, they give me the hand. That should be studied. But yeah, I can't lie. Seeing those stats did feel pretty validating.
I turned out good like anybody else.
All in my head. I wasn't having a little make-believe time in my head.
Oh no, it wasn't Hans. It was just Dev. Sorry, the can was in the way. Yeah, either way, I'm gonna finish.
And I'm sure this is a reason that everybody and their pet rock was thinking about is smartphones. And this isn't just some kind of boomer mad at Gen Z type moment. This is a legitimate issue. I was kind of joking earlier, but not really, when I said that every time I get on the road, I feel like I have to watch out for little Johnny because he veers into my lane when he's on the phone. That literally happens to me all the time. The only difference is that usually it's not little Johnny driving, but it's a literal phone goblin doing something on their phone that I guess they deem is more important than surviving.
I've never understood this shit. You have your phone and you're like looking over here. The most I've ever done is I have the cradle where you can view it in view. And I do that for calls. I do that for maps. And like I said, I may have a YouTube video up, but not like a video. It's like a podcast video where they're talking at me and I can just, listen, like Phil DeFranco News or Financial Audit. Is that why you drive naked? No, I just do that because I like, the wind blowing through my hair. But, the thing I don't understand is, like, when people, like, have the things that I hate are, like, the phone cradles that go in the cup holder. I've yelled at Yitz about that because he has one of those. Do not get one of those. Like, you're looking down for your map. No, don't do that shit. Have it in view. Your phone should always be in view. Oh, you need to adjust your phone? You can at least do it out of the peripheral and you can still keep your eyes on the road. But not only that, the people that actually have their phone in their hand as they're driving, looking down. Oh, why they have it looking down and low? Oh, because if you're, in many places caught driving and texting, that's illegal. It's illegal for good reason, and I'm not one of those people that's usually like, I support government doing things to do things, but there's sometimes where you're like, they have to do this because enough people are idiots. Can you make the text bigger? I'm driving right now.
Oh, that's when I smack the shit out you. I smack the shit out.
Yo, dude, what is this guy doing, man? Learning to drive, doofus. Wow, nice one, man. What did Jerry send me, bro? Oh my God, man. Jerry always would be the funniest vids. Yo, man, keep your eyes on the road. Come on. He doesn't know how to drive.
Here, how'd you see an ad? That's weird. Don't know why you're... Oh.
And that is exactly how phone goblins look too. And on top of all of this, it seems like there's a kind of mass cognitive dissonance going around. So many people know that being on their phone while driving is bad, but they do it anyway. According to AAA Foundation surveys, 93 to 96% of drivers identify texting while driving as very or extremely dangerous.
I don't know why.
Yet, 37% admit to reading a text.
I thought you were subbed already. Okay.
And 27% admit to sending one. To be honest, I bet the number is higher than that because I imagine a lot of people were just embarrassed to admit that they're little silly gooses who text and drive and watch TikToks and are on their phone while driving. And I bet the people who lied about it are the same people who take the whole sharing is caring mentality a little bit too seriously and decide to share their car with my lane. Honestly, I think it's probably the case that they do think it's bad, but they think it's not going to be them that gets in these accidents. Like they think it's always going to be somebody else. Or maybe they just don't think it's dangerous to be on their phone and drive because they've gotten to level 5,000 of Candy Crush and they feel like they've mastered the art of being on a phone. The National Safety Council may have something to say about that.
You know what's even worse? The growing trend of streamers that are streaming while they are driving. Have you seen all the accidents? Like I was watching Atozy, a YouTuber that covers like a lot of different YouTube drama and stuff like that. And like the amount of streamers that have been streaming themselves and get into car accidents because they're streaming and focusing more on their chat. That ain't gonna be me. If I am streaming in a car, either I'm gonna ignore chat or I'm a passenger because I'm a passenger princess that day.
To over 30 studies they viewed, they concluded that talking on cell phones, whether handheld or...
If the person behind me is on their phone at a red light, I try and roll and trick them.
hands-free, increases crash risk fourfold by causing inattention blindness.
Oh yeah.
This is basically where drivers don't see objects that they're looking directly at while driving. But honestly, that's not even the worst reason to be bad at driving. A reason that I can think of that is worse than brain rotting and driving is road rage. It kind of seems like for many people, the moment their rubber hits the road, they become completely feral. It's like they become desocialized to humans or something.
Because the people that get angry when the rubber hits the road are the people that their mothers should have been wearing a rubber when they hit the road. But then again, they're probably the type that their mother is like a NASCAR driver and needs to burn 4 rubbers in a single race. Good God! Yeah, I've seen that in LA.
And moreover, I've always wanted to say that word, people seem like they get mad at everything. Are you driving too slow? You suck at driving. Are you driving too fast? You suck at driving. Are you driving with your eyes closed? You get arrested. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. A AAA Foundation survey found that 96% of drivers engaged in at least one aggressive driving behavior in the past year, with 92% admitting to behaviors that put others at risk. Since 2016, cutting off other vehicles has increased 67%, and angry honking has risen 47%. It's very comforting to know that 96 out of 100 drivers I'm around are perfectly willing to put
My mom had to teach me defensive driving when I learned how to drive, and I'm thankful for it.
They might as well start selling a battle pass for driving, because you're practically in a battle royale. But it's not even just angry driving that's gotten worse. It's also violent driving.
Oh, straight up, I've had somebody try to get violent with me in the middle of an intersection. You do not do that in a state where people can be concealed carrying. I was having one of those pissy days. Literally just sit it on the dash and look at them. Just like, you want this? And you could just see them go like, I'm rethinking my entire life choices. Some people.
Yeah, it was actually... The most violent side of this spectrum, road rage shootings, increased over 400%.
You know, you live stream. How do you live stream? I have another PC that I use OBS to pass the Linux box through.
And by 2022, someone was shot in a road rage incident every 16 hours.
Damn.
That is an absolutely crazy number to hear. And I think part of the reason this is happening is
I'm also live streaming to
people are so
Twitch, Kick, and YouTube.
They feel like they can drive however they want without any consequences, and we're really starting to see the effects of that. And this behavioral
simulcast, baby.
Dramatic decrease in traffic law enforcement. TransUnion research documented a 13% national decline in traffic citations in the last 5 years, and city-specific data tends to reveal even worse drops. In San Francisco, for example, citations fell 90%. In New York, moving violation citations dropped to 35%.
What I was eating? What was this about?
For example, for a while, they didn't even have a traffic division.
Wait, what?
In Texas, DPS stops fell 39%. So it seems pretty clear that people have gotten used to acting buck wild and treating the roads as their own personal little sandbox. And one thing I tell a lot of people, and I genuinely mean this, is if I could have any superpower, I would want my superpower to be the ability to take people's licenses away. Like somebody starts driving badly, boom, they can't drive anymore. They go to jail. We all make fun of them. End of story. That's
invisibility. That's what I would want. Nothing creepy or kinky about it. I just think I could fuck with so many different people in the funniest ways.
it. Another annoying thing is that crashes aren't just happening more often.
They don't do shit about the expired tags. Oh yeah. Did you present in or win DEF CON? No. I just go to DEF CON and enjoy it. I may present at another conference. In the next few months I'm working on some stuff, but probably not this year.
Insurers paid out $1.12 for every dollar collected in premiums. And look, I get that people hate insurance companies or whatever, but I don't think the way somebody should go about getting them out of business is by crashing into other people. Call me a crazy radical lunatic.
The road rage in this video kicks off when an entitled Karen tries to cut off a trucker in a right turn only lane. The trucker blocks her move.
Why the fuck would you try to cut off a truck?
She floors it, swerves.
That is a game you are gonna lose.
Coming to a complete stop like a maniac. She then holds up traffic, refusing to budge.
See that's the type of person that their mother should have swallowed instead of conceived.
You're not ruining my day. You're not ruining my day.
She screams at the trucker and demands he get out of the car. The road rage doesn't stop there as she continues to hold the trucker up. All of this just because the trucker wouldn't let her cut him off in a right turn lane. The trucker struggles to stay calm, but as you'll see, it becomes increasingly difficult. Anyone pulling a stunt like this should have their license revoked on the spot.
Oh yeah. You know what the dumbest shit is? I've had stupid shit like this, and I've gone to police with dash cams, and they say, sorry, we can't do anything with this. And I'm like, I have them on video. I have the GPS coordinates where this happened. And you're telling me you can't do anything about this? Like, no, we have to have an officer, you know, actually do. I'm like, this is bullshit.
Oh, I got up to the traffic light at least.
So at this point, it seems like everything driving related is getting worse. It's like our new norm is being chaotic, evil drivers. And when something becomes a cultural norm, it becomes hard to change. So is it even possible to fix this bad driving epidemic? Well, let's talk about a time when we did change the social norm. The anti-drunk driving campaign represents the most successful traffic safety norm change in American history. In 1982, 25,165 people died in impaired driving crashes.
Moms against drunk driving.
That number had fallen to approximately 12,429. That's a decline exceeding 50%. And among drivers under 21, the change was even more dramatic. From 5,215 deaths in 1982 to 1,392 in 2023. That's a decline of 73 to 84%. But how exactly did we achieve?
I'd make the argument, though, that drinking trends also had something to do with that, because younger generations also do not drink like older generations.
This? Well, this campaign actually succeeded because of multiple different things. MAD and similar organizations humanized victims by putting names and faces to statistics. And this shifted framing from being accidents to preventable crimes. There was minimum drinking age laws.
Gen Z can't afford to drink anymore. And y'all the generation that needs to drink the most.
And public awareness campaigns like the Friends Don't Let Friends Drive Drunk.
Friends die from drinking, and friends don't let friends drive drunk.
They all combine to make drunk driving a socially stigmatized activity. If you can even call it an activity, I don't know if you would call it that. 7 in 10 Americans reported attempting to stop someone from drunk driving, which means this behavior became something that was socially policed. So I guess one way we could go about fixing this whole bad driving issue is by making fun of everybody who's bad at driving. Let's just collectively make fun of them, call them silly, goofy names, and tell them that they're no longer invited to our birthday parties. I feel like that would be a pretty good start.
Crazy road rage and...
So, funny story. Last time I was in Germany, you could actually drink and drive as long as you weren't drunk. You could have a beer in the car. Which I did. But I don't drink to get drunk. I just enjoy a beer once in a while.
in an accident.
What are you doing?
You want it worse, man.
Get off the road!
I don't do it here. And I don't drink all the time. Yitz will tell you if you give me a beer, I'll maybe like finish half or a third of it. Maybe 3/4. Now when I'm at DEF CON, I will drink like a fish.
Multiple people were honking at this guy, and he took it personally.
Yo, dude, your mom should have swallowed! Damn! He hit the beam, didn't he?
He was actually really calm when he got out of the car. His car was totaled. Mine had some minor scratches. He begged me not to show the police the dash cam footage, but of course I showed them.
Which, by the way, this is exactly the type of situation I would love to have the superpower of taking away people's licenses. The moment he swung across multiple lanes, I would have snapped my fingers, license would be gone, and his car would have vanished into thin air. Another way I believe we can fight against bad driving is implementing more traffic calming measures. This includes things like speed bumps, raised intersections, or even, and this is going to be controversial, lane reduction. All of which I agree are pretty annoying. I mean, I don't like going over speed bumps.
I will fight you. I will fight your grandmother if you reduce my damn lanes. They did that shit on one of the streets. It took from a 2-lane to a 1-lane in certain parts. No. No. You want to, like, you know, put school zones in, you want to put stop signs in, you want to do all that. No! Do not reduce my freaking lanes.
But I feel like we have collectively lost the ability to ask for nice things.
Here in the, from American time zone. Oh, yeah.
Probably implement more of these things until at the very least we collectively...
My sister said that to some kids on a bus who was talking dirty and totally inappropriate. Lane reduction. I've driven on a 26-lane highway. Exist? 26-lane highways exist? Yo.
Crash reductions of 33% and pedestrian crash reductions of 18%.
Texas.
And if we look at Sweden, for example, I know they're not a one-for-one comparison to the United States, but they have achieved...
I don't remember them in Dallas when I lived in Dallas. Oh, Houston.
Shifted away from
yeah, I didn't really drive too much in Houston.
On the people who design roads. In Sweden, this program has achieved an 80% reduction in road deaths since 1970, despite traffic doubling, with a current fatality rate of 2 per 100,000, which that is among the world's lowest. So honestly, I don't think it's insane to say that bad driving itself isn't a disease.
Hold up. The reason why their deaths are the lowest is because they have to read the instructions for how to assemble their cars before they can drive them. That's an IKEA joke for anyone that missed it.
But rather a symptom of a few other things. The declining law enforcement on roads, smartphones, and just an overall higher level of distrust. But I don't think that means it's hopeless. The drunk driving transformation proves that social norms can change. It just takes a lot of social buy-in and sustained effort. On top of that, I feel like a lot more people are starting to recognize this is becoming a serious problem because I feel like I hear way more people talking about it. So who knows, maybe in the not so distant
India
future,
doesn't have road rules. You can drive how you like.
But yeah.
Oh yeah. The only rule, there's a cow in the road, everyone must stop. Like, not even trying to pull a stereotype there. That's like what I've been told by like several people has happened to them. Like they will do everything, but a cow's in the road, they just sit there and wait.
That's all I've got. If you want to see more, check out this video right here. But other than that, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.
We are at a...
All right, next video. The My Little Pony operating system. God damn it, vampire.
OS for every pony. Alright, so the window with the status just closed. We're strafe jumping right now. Yeah, there we go. We actually got a kernel panic pretty much immediately. Welcome back to the Tyranid YouTube channel, everybody. In this video, I bring to you another operating system exploration. This time about an operating system called Pony OS, which was actually suggested by a viewer. And
oh
yes,
God!
If you suggest operating systems, please leave them in the comments. I will be glad to read them. But before we get into it, I want to bring up something that was actually commented on in the previous OS review, and that is the format. If you've been watching my channel for a few videos now, then you'll know that one thing I always do for all my operating system explorations is that I follow a set rubric called the operating system task list. This is a simple structured format where I must accomplish a series of tasks in order to test how featureful or interesting an operating system is. A lot of you actually commented and brought to my mind the flaws of the given task list, so I have revised it. Now I have the 10-point revised Tyranid YouTube channel operating system task list that I will be following. Point 1, get a graphical system running. Point 2, change the resolution. Point 3, program FizzBuzz, compile and run it. Point 4, install a new program. Point 5, run a game. Point 6, browse the internet. Point 7, explore make it special. Point 8, power off and reboot. Point 9, check the style. And point 10, destroy the sucker.
Okay.
This will test many features about the operating system and hopefully leave no stone unturned. But without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so we are here on the Pony OS 8.0 page, an OS for every pony. Ooh, okay, so...
Some brony made this shit, didn't they?
This is going to be very interesting. What is Pony OS? It's
the
not a
Mishawaka Linux Garden Isekai style.
Yeah, and since it's all the way at version 8.0, we could really expect quite a lot of features. An operating system project doesn't just get to version 8.0 and have nothing in it, right? So here, I guess we click download 15 megabyte standard ISO.
Only 15 megabytes?
Page, that's fair enough. And let's get ponyos.iso. And it downloaded very quickly. There we go. So I guess now we can hop over into Vert Manager. So here we are back in Vert Manager as always. Let's create
Yep, I use Vert Manager.
Do it from a local install media. Here it is, ponyos.iso. We'll just put it on generic or unknown OS, because there's no option for Pony OS in Vert Manager, unfortunately. Memory, I guess, I mean, set a 64-bit, it should be able to handle a good amount. We'll give it 8192, and I guess, say 6 CPU cores. Create a disk image, I guess 10 gigabytes. That should be fine. I don't imagine it will take more. And we'll call this Pony OS. Okay, so it's booting. Pony OS, Friendship is Magic, x86-64, setting up network. So this apparently has network connectivity, and oh my goodness.
Really?
Welcome to Pony OS.
Happy April Fool's 2022.
I mean, you know, it's not 2022 anymore, but wow. Anyway, now that we're booted in, we can say task 1 of the Tyranid YouTube channel operating system task list, get a graphical system running, is complete. And before we go any further with the task list, let's just go through this introduction, and then we can move on to task number 2. Change the resolution. This tutorial will guide you through the features of the operating system as well as give you a feel for the UI and design principles. Pony OS is a hobby project. The entire contents of this live CD were written by the Pony OS development team over the course of many years, but that development team is very small. Some features may be missing, incomplete, or unstable. Basically, we get the idea, right? This is a live CD. We kind of all know what this is. The default user account is local with the password local. There's also a guest account. I guess every account just has the name of the account as a password. We'll probably use local then. You can explore the file system using the file browser, we get it. So yeah, there's a terminal emulator. Oh, we can install GCC, Doom, Quake, and more.
Okay.
That's very good for us. That's it, the tutorial is over. So I guess now we can move on to step number 2 of the Tyranid YouTube channel operating system task list, which is change the resolution. So let's try to open the terminal perhaps and see if they have like XRAND R, because I assume they're doing this probably through an X server. No? Okay, wait, can I
Is it Wayland?
Oh my goodness, look at this.
Holy shit!
May I just say, look at this wallpaper. I do not know anything about My Little Pony. I think this one's Rainbow Dash. I actually don't know. I genuinely don't know. Wow, the mouse driver is really bad on this. Like, I'm moving my mouse left and right. I don't know if you can see this. This is really bad. Like, this actually sucks. Okay, I've tried to mess around with it a little bit, and perhaps it is possible, but I just can't figure out how to make the operating system run on a different resolution. So, I guess for task number 2, I'm gonna have to give it a fail now. 3 is where we move on to something interesting. Program FizzBuzz, compile, and
Cheap
run.
Y is My Little Pony on your screen.
Okay, so there's something called BIM. Now I guess we can do something like BIM, FizzBuzz.
It's on my screen because of you, asshole! You put it in the review on stream, you asshole!
.c, and I guess let's just program FizzBuzz.
Cosmic. Looks like KDE with Wayland, probably.
Working code for FizzBuzz.
Okay.
That's the first part of program FizzBuzz, compile and run it completed. We have programmed it. Let's see if we can compile it. GCC, command not found. Okay, so there's no programming language we can use.
Jesus!
So you know what
Well, it's only
actually
15 megabytes.
gonna skip task number 3 and jump to task number 4, install a new program. This operating system did tell us earlier that we can install GCC, so that's why I am hoping that this will actually work. Let's go to packages right here. Password should just be local. Essential build tool.
I have never seen My Little Pony, and I do not plan to start.
Just literally a built-in list of packages, but I suppose this contains pretty much most of the things you would ever want to see, so I'm gonna just cut the footage in and resume it when the download is complete. Alright, so the window with the status just closed, I guess that means probably it's done. So we have GCC available to run. Yeah, I guess that is task number 4 complete. We have downloaded and installed a new program. And with that, we can wrap back around to task number 3. Let's try and compile our FizzBuzz. So here it is, fizzbuzz.c, and here it is compiled. Now, if we run it, what do we get? Well, you know, to nobody's surprise, we get FizzBuzz. And yeah, it does work correctly.
Okay.
So, task number 3, check it off the list. Now we can actually move on to task number 5, which is run a game. If we go back to the package browser, there is Doom. We have tried to run Doom on a couple of these previous.
Look, you can run Doom on a pregnancy test. You can run Doom on a toaster.
Quake, you know, is 3D, it's more technically demanding, so let's
Have you
try to
seen
install
Linus Tech Tips try Linux again? No, and as I've said before, I kind of don't really care to watch Linus Tech Tips videos on Linux because I hate to say it this way, but I kind of lost respect for the dude. I don't know how else to put it. I never watched it either. I've only seen clips because my TikTok algorithm is broken. Why? Look, and I say this as somebody that grew up watching him and used to have respect for him and saw him through NCIX Tech Tips and building his empire and everything. There's just been so many things where he's had the opportunity to grow his knowledge and mature the knowledge and things like that, and he's just not. Like, a lot of his audience, like me, we went into tech. We grew up. We upskilled. We learned more. We grew up. We did more. And then, yeah, he went from, that's the best way to put it, VTuber. LTT went from helpful tips to drama farm, and now he's trying the fast and loose. Exactly. That's the best way to put it. I watched the WAN show Friday, but his show is more of something for fun. Now, I will say this. Luke, I have respect for him. I have respect for Luke. One of my buddies did run into Luke at DEF CON, not this past DEF CON, but the DEF CON before. Said he's a really cool dude. Told him straight up to his face, like, he only watches WAN show for Luke. Doesn't really like Linus, told him to his face and said, I have respect for you, dude. You're awesome. And he was like, dude, that's awesome, you know, and like all that. And I've heard also from other creators, because remember, I'm a tech creator, and while I'm not some massive tech creator, I am at least sizable enough that I've rubbed shoulders with some of the sizable tech creators, that they've told me that they've not had positive interactions with Linus. And there's been a few people that have said that. Like, you've heard the things with Gamers Nexus and Linus Tech Tips and that drama. That's one thing. But there's apparently been other things that have been unspoken that I'm not going to repeat here. Which one's worse, Pony OS or Bieber OS? Probably Pony OS. If we can't have some respect for the guy who created the freedom movement of software development, I don't know what we can have respect for. We're not talking about Linus Torvalds. We're talking about Linus Sebastian. Linus Tech Tips. Linus Torvalds, the maker of Linux, dude, he's okay. I love that dude. I'd love to buy him a beard. Torvalds is the GOAT, okay? No issues with him. Yeah. Yeah, if anything, I'd have more negative words to say about some of the things Richard Stallman has said than I have about Linus Torvalds. That's some other drama we're not going to get into. He kind of put his foot in his mouth on a few things, and he ended up getting removed from the Free Software Foundation over it. But yeah, Linus Tech Tips, that Linus is who I'm talking about. And I'm not saying it to stir up drama. I'm just saying I don't care to watch his videos. I just feel like... Yeah, I said enough on this piece. Let's move on.
It like fails or something, then we'll just go
Stick
back
to watching Jay's 2 cents. I like Jay. Jay's 2 cents I like. Because Jay at least knows... Jay has never been that dramatic type of dude. He knows what he knows, stays in his lane about that, knows he's not like this, you know, professional tech creator, you know, in terms of like, you know, servers and cybersecurity and all that. And I respect that because like he does stuff that I can't do at that level in terms of like liquid cooling and stuff like that. Can I do liquid cooling? Yeah. Can I do it to the level of what he does? No. But I like watching what he does, even though I probably wouldn't be interested in making rigs like that myself. And I do learn a few things from him as well in terms of, you know, like when he was talking about the power issues with the 5090s and all of that stuff that he had going on, with the power cables and all that. That was interesting to learn through him. He's been very valuable and educational. So, like, in as far as, like, the non-professional IT or cybersecurity creators, you know, I would have to say I like Gamers Nexus and Jay's 2 cents the most. Now, out of the professional tech creators, I'm going to have to say the GOAT is by far... Wendell from Level 1 Techs, okay? He is by far the GOAT, okay? Like, that dude is a big influence on a lot of the things that I ended up doing.
You know, fall back to Doom. Okay, so it finished installing, and here on the desktop we see Quake, and I wonder, can we move these icons around? No, we can't move them around, but let's see if we can run Quake. And,
wait, Linus Tech Tips is the guy who can't handle Linux. Yes, that one! Why do you even mention him? Because somebody else actually asked if I've watched the videos with him trying to install Linux. And somehow he installs Linux and always manages to break it. Like, this is the guy that broke Linux because he broke the rule that, you know, you're like, okay, whether you're on Mac, Windows, or Linux, what's the very first thing you're supposed to do? What's the very first thing you're supposed to do after you've installed those operating systems? You do updates. You do updates. He didn't do that. And then the Linux machine got broken, and then he made this whole tirade about it because there was a bug that was resolved in the updates, if he had done it in the first place. Was there a bug? Yes, but it was one of those like, dude, if you had just updated the system before you installed Steam, you wouldn't have had the issue. And I know somebody's going to say, well, you know, gee, look, there are issues that Windows has had over years where you've had to install updates on Windows before you install certain software too. So don't tell me like, well, this sounds like a stupid Linux issue. Like, I remember there were times where Windows was so bad with XP, you had to install Service Pack 2 before people took it seriously. I haven't broken Linux that bad, and I don't read. Yeah. Step 1, install Linux. Step 2, update. Step 2, do whatever. Pretty much. Windows is dying. Catchy OS is any good of Linux. I haven't really done Catchy. Just use whatever you find that you like the most. I like Pop OS for what I do, and then I use Parrot OS and Cubes OS.
Oh, wait. Okay, so I press enter. Let's go to single player, new game.
Quake!
And yeah, we're strafe jumping.
We did a
right now.
stream
This
where
is
we
very
played
nice,
Quake.
I have to say. Walk into the slipgate to start playing Quake. So yeah, Quake was obviously a game that represented a massive technical evolution from the stuff that had come before it, because it was bona fide, genuine 3D shooter as compared to stuff like Doom and the earlier Wolfenstein 3D, which, you know, despite having 3D in the name, was quite far from it. So here we go. And I must say, task number 5, run a game, passes with flying colors. Yeah, on a hobby OS, running a full 3D game, very impressive, very impressive. So I am gonna click quit now and move on to task number 6, browse the internet. Yeah, I can't find any kind of browser. So you know what, we're gonna do the next best thing and we're gonna say curl and see if we can at least curl.
Oh, jeez.
Alright, so curl is installed. Let's open up the terminal and say curl https tyramid.net, which is my website. Segmentation full. Yeah, so that doesn't work. Even if we were to count just fetching the HTML of a page as browsing the internet, which I don't really think we should, this still wouldn't work because curl just unfortunately doesn't function. Okay, can we at least connect to the internet? Can we do like ping 8.8.8.8 or something? Okay, so even though we are at least connected to the internet, we still can't browse it. Fail for number 6. And with number 7, we move on to
My Little Pony can't even browse the internet.
Which is explore what makes it special. Now, while I was browsing through the applications here,
You
I
even have
actually
to
saw
update Mac OS, yeah.
and demos. So let's check these.
Even a
demos
fresh
out.
copy of Windows 11 25H2 will install updates after you install it before you can even set up the PC. Yep.
Arrow keys. Can I make this full screen? Oh yeah, there we go. So yeah, this is just a Julia Fractal visualizer, and
Probably a good thing a brony can't access the internet. Yep.
Next decorated demo was called Plasma, and that is just, I mean, that's interesting. I don't really, can I interact with this? Does it do anything if I...
You really only need that because if you're a brony, you're on hallucinogens, so this is really your entertainment. You drop some and then you watch this.
click any keys on my keyboard? No? Does look pretty nice. I wonder how they did this. If anyone knows, leave it in the comments. And finally, the last demo is draw lines. Oh, I thought this would be like a paint program. Oh, we can just drag it around by clicking on it. That's kind of cool. And it just draws a random line every like few program ticks or something like that. What else do we have? We have About Pony OS. Oh, this is just copyright information, I suppose. What about the settings? Can we select a different wallpaper? When we were browsing the packages earlier, there was a package.
This is basically a Debian shell? What?
So let's download that and see if that allows us to change the wallpapers. But in the meantime, let's explore what's up here. So the sound, I was kind of wondering why the Quake earlier wasn't making any sound, but I guess this is probably why. Is this gonna... Wait, actually, never mind. I was gonna say let's run the Quake again to see if we can get it with sound, but the sound just decides to turn it off immediately as soon as you try to...
Your sound is broken.
Does not seem to function. But while we were exploring that, the wallpaper pack finished downloading. Let's
My
see if
Linux is Pop OS.
Oh wow, yeah, look at this. Look at this. We can now change the wallpaper
Papa,
to
Oscar, Papa. Oscar, Sam, Sierra.
the wallpaper to this nice moon. Oh, what a nice transition. That's a very good transition. It like sort of fades in. So what else do we have about this operating system? CD-ROM. Oh, so it's like a browser for the CD-ROM we booted off of. That's not very useful. So we have on the
That's just the...
If we add something, so like test.txt, we just add a file called test.txt.
Yeah, it's just like old Debian.
Refresh it, and there we go. It actually shows up on the desktop. This is more than can be said about a lot of operating systems. If you add something to the desktop, it will actually show up. That is pretty nice. Oh, okay, so in the accessories here, there's also a calculator. I wonder how featureful this calculator is. Let's do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 divided by 6, 7, 8, 9. That seems accurate, and probably that means it actually has floating point support. Again, that's more than can be said for many operating systems. What about if we do 1 divided by 0? What will it give us? Error. I remember there was also something called pony say, which I assume is like cow say. So pony say subscribe to Tyramid. Wow, okay. That's a bit okay, what's good is you can actually scroll up and down by using
Jesus!
page up and shift page down binds. Let's just try to run the same thing again, and yep, I don't know who this character is. I assume it's someone from My Little Pony, but yeah, there we go. Subscribe to Tyramid and leave a like. But you know what? I think we've played around enough. So we have explored what makes it special. This is just a very surprisingly feature operating system.
What's the best for making a gaming server?
3D games, and it
Why
has
does this OS look so disturbing? Because it's a Pony OS. Anything brony related is.
A success, and this operating system really does have a lot of things that are special.
What's the best
about it.
OS for making a gaming server? Generally I've used Debian or Ubuntu, but you can also use like Red Hat's, Alma, Rocky. Used to use CentOS for a lot.
If it has this, then they really put quite a lot of effort into this. So do we have like power off? Do we have reboot? Okay, so we do have reboot. I'll just try to do it through here. Can we do sudo reboot? Okay, wow, wait, look. So it is actually rebooting. And yeah, we're back in the operating system. Now, of course,
you probably have shut down
settings because we are just running off a live CD, so we don't, we don't expect it to save anything, but still, that's very cool. Success for point number 8. Now, point number 9 is check the style. When I was making this point, I sort of intended it to be something like, is the style of the operating system internally consistent? Does it look good? Now, for does it look good, I think that's a very obvious no. I don't think anyone in their right mind would want an operating system that looks like this with this font. I mean, this is just pretty terrible.
You obviously haven't learned of the greatness of Hannah Montana Linux, or its counterpart, Debian, Justin Bieber Linux. How about Selena Black OS? Was it Selena Black, or was it, no, was it Rebecca Black OS? I think it was. That was another one.
But it is at least consistent. I mean, say what you will about it, this is My Little Pony. So you know what? I'll actually give it a point for the style. And with that, we move on to the final point. Destroy the sucker. We are just gonna go with old reliable file deletion. Let's cd to the root sudo rm-rf/-no-preserve root. This command right here will delete everything on the system that it can. So let's run it and see what happens. Give the password. And, oof, yeah. We actually got a kernel panic pretty much immediately. Page fault in kernel pid equals 104 bin rm. So in case you're not aware, a page fault just means that like a program...
Is there a Lady Gaga Linux? Unfortunately, to my knowledge, there is not.
So I guess we have...
There is no Poker Face Linux.
And reboot it with no effect. And of course,
there is Puppy Linux also, seems like a yeah, Puppy Linux is actually a legit Linux. There's also Damn Small Linux.
We can't really meaningfully destroy it, so it is a fail, unfortunately.
Poker Face, Poker Face.
I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. It was a lot of fun to record, and in general, this is a...
Alright, next video. So we had My Little Pony OS. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about this. So do you remember how, what I said? Remember how I said I didn't care for Aura privacy web services and turned down working with them? So the context here is, as you know, content creator, I get offers from a lot of different companies. Aura was one of the companies that had actually reached out to me a while ago to work with them. And I wasn't entirely sure because they were one of the ones that had a whole bunch of different offerings and everything. They got pwned. Therein have I been pwned. This month, Aura, which is an identity protection service, mind you, got pwned. With allegedly customer service comments, IP addresses, phone numbers, email addresses, names, and physical addresses. Excuse me. Now, there are fewer than 20,000 active Aura customers affected, but still... Well, they're saying fewer than 20,000 active Aura customers affected, but they say there's 903.1 thousand affected accounts. You purchased a Windows 11 Pro key full price? Should have asked me. I could have given you one. So I should... damn, I should have gotten one so I could have gotten the 91-cent lawsuit. But yeah, this is why I tell you that, like, there are a lot of vendors out there, but a lot of the vendors are not silver bullets. Privacy is not necessarily a service that you can just pay for with a vendor. Now, are there services out there that I've trusted for different things? Yes. Oro was just one of those ones that I kind of side-eyed, and I was like, I think I'm gonna pass on this offer. So, yeah. That happened. It is what it is. What can you tell about the new layoffs wave that is on the horizon? I don't know about that. Epic is firing people, but they did hire a lot of people before. Gaming is, unfortunately, always having an ebb and flow. That's a tough industry, period. But yeah. Alright. Next video we have, Undecided with Matt Farrell. Did I get the wrong heat pump? Geothermal versus air source. Let's see. 20-minute video. We'll see if we're going to watch the full thing about this.
What if the most efficient way to heat and cool your home might not actually be the best choice for you? Geothermal heat pumps are the gold standard for efficiency. They're also the most expensive upfront investment that you can make in your home's HVAC system.
Yeah.
So are they really worth it? Or should you just
In my next house, I've been thinking about geothermal myself.
2 years now, and I've covered it extensively on this channel, but I wanted to dig deeper. So I reached out to my friend Paul Barron, who installed an air source heat pump system in his Connecticut home around the same time I was building mine.
So the little background on why geothermal is so great is when you go a few feet down, no matter what, year round, it's roughly, what, 10, 12 degrees Celsius non-stop, hot or cold. And then you can go deeper and deeper, and there's, you know, you can get warmth in the crust and everything. There's different ways of geothermal and everything. But it is a very reliable form of heating and cooling your home. However, it's, like you said, an expensive way. Yeah, but it's like, what, 55 degrees Fahrenheit, if my math is right?
We're both in New England. We both have...
Have you seen Sora AI shutting down? Yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
It's a perfect setup for a real-world comparison. Here's the thing, though. After crunching the numbers, this isn't going to be a straightforward geothermal wins or air source is better story that you would expect.
OpenAI seems to be doing well. Oh, they're not doing well. OpenAI is not doing well. Financially, they are in a hole. Like, I forgot the numbers. We dug into it a few streams ago, but I remember it was something like they would have to 3x their profit in the next 2 or 3 years to break even. It's not going to happen. The reason why they shut down Sora is it was a money pit. Claude is actually competitive. Claude was actually focused on productivity, and Sora was a product that was actually in a market that wasn't really asking for a solution. So they weren't making money on it. It was costing them an arm and a leg in terms of money. And OpenAI is not making money. They actually pulled out of the Stargate data center deal with Oracle. That big data center that Trump was like, you know, gloating about at the beginning of his presidency as a massive investment. Yeah, OpenAI is not able to really commit to that. They're falling short on a lot of things. The bubble is basically starting to deflate. ChatGPT 5.4 is lit. No, it's not. ChatGPT 5.4 is eh. It's meh. Claude Opus 4.6 is pretty nice. But the honest truth is, the real future, if you want to get into AI, is running your own. Like, I run my own. So, if you ever look at my live stream announcements, when you're on Blue Sky or Mastodon, or you go to Discord or my Matrix server, those are all generated by my local AI here with Gemma 3 12B on this server. Okay? Claude Opus is a lot better than ChatGPT. ChatGPT is so far behind. So this server here is running with one of these, an NVIDIA 5060 Ti, 16 gigabytes of VRAM. And this is a thinking model. This is a Qwen 3 14B. Here, we'll just do a quick idea. Show me a code snippet of a website sticky header in CSS and JavaScript. This is a thinking model, so it's thinking right now. That's locally running on my machine on the NVIDIA 5060 Ti. Nothing fancy. It's a Ryzen 5500. 32 gigs of RAM, but it's barely using any of the RAM. It's all on the GPU with this. So this is it just thinking, okay? So we're going to hide the thinking part of it. Isn't ChatGPT owned by OpenAI? Yeah. And there you go. That's it after thinking. And look at that. Even made a little website right there with CSS and JavaScript. All that right there, locally, on my machine. Well, that's not on this machine, that's on the other computer that's by the network rack. Or you can even use LM Studio, which then can run all of this locally on your machine if you want. This is using Ollama and Open Web UI. I have this entire project on my GitHub, by the way, if you want to spin this up. It's called Franken LLM. That's an open source project I have over there. And you can run it with different models. So you can see these are all the different models that I have in mine. Some are bigger, some are smaller. And I have them running on different GPUs. So, for example, I'll use the smaller model over here. This is Phi 3 Mini. This is one of Microsoft's models. This will run on the NVIDIA 3050. I have two GPUs in there. There's a 3050 8GB and a 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte. So we'll just have it, tell me a fun fact about the Roman Empire. This is Phi 3 Mini on the NVIDIA 3050. It's a non-thinking model, as I recall. Okay? So we can make our own AI at home. I want one that makes AI videos. So you can totally do that. So these are just smaller ones that I'm gonna, that I have over here. Now, the one that I use for most of my stuff is Gemma 312B. And... you can actually, if you want, pair it up over here. So, hold on. Let's pair this up with two models. Write me a basic Python calculator. And now I'm running two models at the same time. DeepSeek Coder and Gemma 3 4B. On two different GPUs at the same time. This is a thinking model, I think. No, wait. No, that's running on the same GPU. So it had to go at the... wait for the other one to go. I forgot, because that's on a 3050. But, yeah. So this is all local. I'm eventually going to get much bigger models using NVIDIA DGX Sparks. I want to, hopefully, if I can get the money, run 3 or 4 of them. And then use VLLM to scale them up. And I was looking at 5090 resolution, so I don't need that much. A 5090 allows you to do a lot more. But, here's the honest truth. For the price of what a 5090 is, don't even bother. You're going to want to look at what I'm getting. This is what I'm looking at getting. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up. Okay, they just went up a little bit in price, apparently, but for about the price of a 3090, or one of those big boys. These are what I'm looking at getting. Because that's got 128 gigabytes of memory. But the reason why this is even better, you can tie these together. So that module on the back, that's a ConnectX-7 module. You can connect 2 of these in together and then have them go together at 200 gigabit per second. And then if you want, you can scale them up even more. Get yourself a ConnectX-7 scaling switch that's 100 gigabit for like $800, like I was thinking of doing with 3 or 4 of these. That's the NVIDIA DGX Spark. Actually, that's the 4 terabyte model. I was looking at the 2 terabyte. But the point being, yeah. 4080 or 5080 is plenty waste of money. Having 5090 for a little extra FPS. Well, it's not about FPS. It's about the memory size that you have in this. So... But yeah, you can do a lot with a little LLM. It just depends on what you're trying to do with it. But I might run it on VS Code. If you're running it on VS Code, there is a extension called Continue. So there's an extension called Continue. I think it's Continue. Anyway, it allows you to use your LLM as a coding assistant in the same way as GitHub Copilot. And then you can hook it into all the different models. A 1660 Ti mobile can run 7B models just fine, and yes, the extension is Continue. Okay, cool. Continue is a P. Oh yeah, Continue took a little bit of work, but I use Continue on the MacBook Pro that I have at work while they're getting GitHub Copilot Enterprise approved for me so that I can use Claude Opus appropriately, because I was using Continue for things that were dealing with sensitive data because I didn't want it to run through my personal GitHub Copilot account. A lot of games don't use more than 12 gigs of RAM. That's true. My 5070 Ti in my machine's been doing plenty well, even on 1440p. How much VRAM does that have? What, the, these? The 5060 Ti has 16 gigabytes of VRAM. The 3050 that I'm using has 8 gigabytes of VRAM. The 8 gigabyte can do 7B models just fine. The 16 gigabyte can do so far up to 14 B models just fine. Oh, the DGX? Oh, that's got 128 with 112 usable for LLMs. That's why it's a lot better. Because for what you're paying for like a 5090, you're already getting a DGX and you're going to have like 3-4 times the RAM. And then you can scale it.
Quillfire is now chilling in the lab.
Thank you for the follow. VRAM? Well, it's unified memory. So it's not VRAM, it's unified memory. So the system memory and the VRAM, it's all combined. It's a what do they call it? The Grace Blackwell? It's the same thing as the NVIDIA, like, RTX 6000 Blackwell GPUs, but on a smaller chip. Smaller board. It's a self-contained computer, designed to be scalable for self-hosted supercomputer, basically needs like that. So it's something new. It's not that new. It's been out for a year or so. Let's get back to this.
I'm Matt Farrell. Welcome to Undecided.
So let's see what he has about the,
Before we get
you're really behind. Oh, that's why you should hang out on my Twitch, Kick, and YouTube streams. We show some really fun stuff, and my YouTube videos will have some more stuff as I start breaking out more of this stuff.
They pull heat from outside, amplify it, and pump it into the home. That's why you can get 3 to 5 units of heating or cooling for every unit of electricity that you use. It's a very efficient system. And the difference between geothermal and air source is simple. Geothermal exchanges heat with the ground through underground pipes and a circulating fluid. Air source systems exchange heat with outside air using an outdoor condensing unit. Both beat burning fossil fuels by a long shot. I live in Massachusetts. Paul lives in Connecticut, and New England winters are cold, electricity is expensive, and we both work from home. That means our systems run constantly. However, we make very
RTX
different choices.
5080 Super is reportedly going to have 24 gig of VRAM. Yeah, but they're gonna delay it apparently because of all these AI shortages. Nobody can get memory.
What that meant for each of us. My geothermal installation was part of a new build, which gave me some advantages. I drilled a single vertical well 400 feet deep in my backyard. A closed loop runs down into the well and back up into the house, circulating fluid that exchanges heat with the earth. Once you get down to about 6 to 10 feet below the surface in my area, the earth becomes a consistent about 50 degrees Fahrenheit or 10 degrees Celsius. If you have room, you can go with a horizontal loop where they dig across a large area of your property about 6 to 10 feet down. That's cheaper than drilling vertical, but the process does require more space. The system itself is
People can announce products all they want. I'll believe it once they actually come to shelves. Exactly.
Up or down to maintain precise temperature without constantly cycling on or off. One of my favorite features
32 gigs of RAM is nearly $600, and that's for, yeah. I can't even get a 9950X because of the memory.
Water heater, and as a result, I get hot water from heat that would otherwise be wasted. And overall, I installed the water furnace system, a 400-foot well, and
oh, so he's got a heat pump. Interesting. Huh.
Paul's situation was completely different. He bought an existing house built in the 1990s that was, in essence, designed to be leaky. Back then, homes were built that way to provide return air for gas-burning equipment. His house was doing 8 air exchanges per hour. He may as well have been leaving the windows cracked open all the time. So Paul didn't just install a heat pump, he completely transformed his house. After enough air sealing, the house went from 8 air exchanges per hour to 0.8. This also meant removing the natural gas line, meter, furnace, and all the other such hardware that goes along with that. Paul also removed all the baseboard heating, water loops, and attic ductwork. He designed a completely new system from scratch. The old system had single registers at each door with short.
That's quite an investment.
Close the door, it relied on return air going under the door. In his previous home, which was nearby and built by the same builder, Paul's office used to climb to 85 degrees Fahrenheit or 29
yeah, the
degrees Celsius.
RTX 6000 Pro, you can get 2 of the DGXs. But the RTX 6000 Pro does a lot faster than the DGX.
He installed 2 Bosch air source heat pump systems, 2 outdoor condensers, 2 air handlers, an ERV, and a whole house dehumidifier.
Jeez.
Now, before we get to the performance data and costs, I need to talk about something else that both Paul and I experienced. Finding qualified contractors who understand modern heat pump systems and efficient homes is not easy. One of the first contractors I contacted created a wildly complicated and over-engineered design that would have been very costly. Paul had one contractor literally walk out of his house partway through the consultation. The guy looked at Paul's requirements for efficient sizing and properly designed ductwork for each room and said he couldn't handle it. He literally didn't just walked away. The installer he did go with oversized the system, even after Paul had explained that he was air sealing the house with aero barriers, improving the insulation and replacing all 32-year-old windows with new triple pane windows.
Triple pane? Jeez.
Had a dip switch that let them operate as
even I've only put double pane on mine.
That dip switch probably saved thousands in operating costs by preventing the systems from short cycling. The point is, this stuff matters. A bad installation can ruin even the best equipment. And there aren't enough contractors who really understand these newer high-efficiency systems yet. After 2 years living with my geothermal system, there were a few things that caught me by surprise. But before we get into those surprises, let me tell you about something else that can help your HVAC experience in a fun way. That's today's sponsor, Micro Center. Now, Paul and I are both running Home Assistant on little home servers. We are trying to automate our HVAC system and monitor.
Yo, Micro Center, when are you going to sponsor some of my stuff? Give me a DGX Spark. Sponsor a video. Come on! I'm near one of your flagship stores. I literally have gone there since I was a kid.
Energy usage. I've been shopping at the Cambridge location for years whenever I build gaming PCs or need Mac accessories. Everything is under one roof, but I've also leaned on them for AI hardware too. I'm using local AI workloads to help write automations for my smart home. It's genuinely useful stuff. Whether you're just dipping your toes into AI or you're a serious developer, Micro Center has the hardware that you need. If you just want to experiment with running models locally, they've got a solid selection of gaming GPUs that can handle AI workloads without breaking a sweat. It's a perfect starting point. If you want something more powerful, they're stocking AMD Strix Halo systems with up to 128 gigs of shared memory.
That's kind of the thing I'm talking about, the DGX Sparks. They're the same, well, that's AMD Strix Halo, but same thing, but AMD.
Power-efficient machines that give hobbyists serious AI performance without the enterprise price tag. If you're ready to go all in and fine-tune your own models, they've got the NVIDIA DGX Spark and the RTX Pro 6000 cards. Actual developer-grade hardware for cutting-edge AI work. They're also opening a new location in Austin, Texas later this year. Sign up using the link in the description to get a free 128 gig flash drive when the store opens. Just make sure you wait until it actually opens, because apparently people were showing up during construction asking for their flash drives. And if you want to stay up to date on all things tech, from AI to custom PC builds, check out Micro Center News. I'll have the links in the description below, and thanks to Micro Center and to all of you for supporting the channel. All right, let's get into a few of the things that caught me by surprise. The biggest one, I never touched the thermostat, like ever. In every house I've ever lived in before, I had thermostats on timers or smart thermostats that adjust things on the fly. Drop the temperature when you're at work, raise it before you go home. But geothermal systems, they actually don't want that. The ground loop provides a powerful buffer with high thermal inertia. It absorbs and releases heat.
Yeah, I want to get like at least 2 DGX Sparks. I'd like to scale to 4.
In response to big temperature changes, and that sounds like a
for
downside,
my own needs.
but it's actually a benefit. The result is highly efficient, constant temperature that also reduces wear and tear on the equipment. The system isn't
But
cycling on and off or trying
the
to
5060 Ti's, they at least help bridge the gap for me to start tinkering for what they are. This one here is going to be for my honey pot that I'm going to be putting together soon. I'm building a honey pot that's going to have an LLM for high interactivity. The idea being that when they go into the LLM, they go into the honey pot, they're going to be able to interact with it, and the LLM is going to basically have it interact like, oh, you want to hit me like you're an I'm an Apache web server? I'll act like an Apache web server, and I'm going to purposely have the network with just enough defenses up to make them think it's a live network, but it's going to be feeding all that telemetry in to my sim, so that way I can start making it automatically lock down the firewall on the rest of the network, and possibly start locking down the machines for all the other things.
Air source system operates more like a traditional HVAC setup, but with 2 air handler speeds and a variable speed heat pump that likes to run most of the time.
I'm still not there yet. I still got a lot of stuff in the knock and sock.
Well, it can respond somewhat
Didn't they say they were going to make CPUs for consumers? They've said they're going to make a lot of stuff, but they don't seem to give a shit about consumers right now.
Surprised me when you talked about not.
We're
setting
too
back
broke compared to data centers.
That's true here too. Now I do have zoning, so one room might be 3 degrees warmer on purpose than an adjoining room, but I leave it. If I set it back, it gets too fancy and it's got to catch up in the morning. And whether it's geothermal, ground source, or air source heat pump, you don't really want to mess with your temperature much if you're only leaving the house for 4 or 8 hours. That is nothing like a regular house, or how my houses used to be.
And here's something that both Paul and I deal with that most people don't. Humidity control in spring and fall is tricky. Your air conditioner dehumidifies the air as a side effect of cooling. Cold coils make moisture condense out of the air. In May or October though, when it's 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 degrees Celsius outside and it's comfortable inside, the AC isn't running, but it can still be humid and uncomfortable. That's why we both have whole house dehumidifiers. Mine runs mainly in May, June, September, and October. I have it plugged into a smart outlet so I can turn it off completely in winter and summer when it's not needed. Paul has an April air unit with similar setup, and his runs during those same shoulder months of fall and spring. It's one of those things that adds to the total system cost, but makes the whole house much more comfortable.
See, I just have one in the basement for mold control.
I have energy recovery ventilators, or ERVs, because our houses are so airtight. And both of us regret how they're integrated with our HVAC systems. An ERV brings
NVIDIA wants to think of that. People switch to Intel Arc or AMD GPU. Ah! You think that you think they care about you either. NVIDIA owns part of Intel. And guess who also is selling AI processors to data centers. I'll give you a hint. 3 letters, starts with A, ends in D. That's right. We're all the broke boys they don't give a shit about. I said 3 letters, Kara! Can you do rendering on the DGX? I don't see why not. But it's more so for AI processing. But yeah, you should be able to. You can use it for AI processing. You can do it for AI to render videos and stuff like that too. Like object recognition, things like that. I mean, it's a full-on GPU with a whole-on computer tacked onto it. Yeah, you do not want to use that as a gaming machine. That is a work machine. I don't have the funding set up for a separate machine to tinker with Ollama. Is it safe enough to install it to play around with? Work made me try Claude, and being unable to close it without killing the process made me really suspicious. Oh yeah, you can run it totally fine. So the easiest way that I would actually recommend you run it, now mind you, I haven't run this app in a minute on my machine because I mostly run it locally. I mean, I run it on its own server, but there's an app called LM Studio. I'm running an older version of it. It's a self-contained app, Mac, Windows, and Linux. And from there, you can basically run your LLMs entirely local here. So I can load all the, LLMs and everything right there. And you can even set up a dev mode. So LM Studio might be a little bit easier for you. To just get everything set up. Ollama is the backend that a lot of people use for that. Like my server is Ollama and Open Web UI. But if you're trying to tie it into VS Code, you can either keep this open as a server and then just kind of flip that on and have that tie in, as you can see over here. Or run Ollama locally and then have your models plug in. Either way. And they can shut it down whenever. It's your local machine. LM Studio also has a CLI, so you could access it remotely in native RAG. Yeah, that's what I was showing here. And RAG is Retrieval Augmented Generation, if you're not familiar with that. Basically, you can do a one-time pass on whatever data you want to train it on, and it indexes it so that your other LLMs can start using that data set. So, like, for example, you have an entire manual of, products, for example, that your company has. You can do a one-time pass with an LLM where you can use, like, something like the 5060 Ti or 3050. You don't need a major LLM to basically just go through it. It takes a day or two, index all of that data, and then you can hook that data in as a data set for your other LLMs to come in and be able to reference that in the work you're trying to do.
Covering heat or cooling from the exhaust air. It passes stale inside air through tiny vents on the way out. Parallel to those vents, fresh outside air passes through as it comes in.
Oh.
Heat moves from the hotter vents to the cooler vents. In summer, you're pre-cooling hot outside air, and in winter, you're preheating cold outside
If you join the Discord and the Matrix servers,
it only runs when the HVAC
we got
system is
plenty of smart people that can walk you through a lot of this stuff.
the HVAC might not
The
run
links are in the bio.
Nothing's needed for heating or cooling, but people are still breathing, cooking, and living inside the house. Paul's situation is even more complicated. His Bosch system is a high-efficiency unit that gets its SEER 20 rating, partly because
SEER 20, goddamn!
But it sometimes leaves the coils a bit wet. If he runs the air handler after a cooling cycle ends,
I download the Wikipedia zip documentation websites for local RAG. Well, Wikipedia is only like, what, 60 gigabytes?
We both install independent ERVs with their own ductwork and controls. They'd run based on CO2 levels, bathroom humidity, or a timer completely separate from the HVAC system. All right, let's talk the numbers, because this is what I'm sure many of you are actually here for.
I'm here for this shit.
We have detailed energy monitoring systems because we both use SPAN panels, which are smart electric panels. We can both see exactly how much electricity our
This is the kind of shit that I'm gonna do in my next house, I swear to God.
There's no guessing, no estimates, just real data. For a fair
Yeah, I
comparison,
thought somebody just had the receipt printer go off.
that's the air handlers and the outdoor units. For Paul, that means his 2 air handlers and 2 outdoor condensers. For me, it's my geothermal unit. We're leaving out the ERVs, dehumidifiers, and other accessories. Here we're just measuring just the stuff that
Storage is being used for VMs, games, and torrent. I got 6 terabytes on this workstation.
1 year is 12,571 kilowatt hours of energy. Mine for the same time frame.
What's AI to automate stuff free, like draft email
Kilowatt hour to something
replies?
like per kilowatt hour.
Excuse me. You can use like Gemma for that. You can use that very easily. Some people, I do not recommend doing this. Disclaimer. Do not do this. I will explain why. If you can't figure out. Some people use OpenClaw tied into an LLM to automatically handle their emails and respond and do that kind of thing for them. You could use Gemma 3 to automatically handle the responses for you using OpenClaw. Obviously, you should not have an AI directly interface to your email agentically in a way that you do not have direct control over. So, you can use LM Studio or Olama, like I do with OpenWebUI, to interface with like Gemma 3 to generate replies and stuff like that for you. So, like, for example, something that goes in email myself. Yeah, then you can use that. So, like, for example, you can do it, give it guardrails to automate things. So, like, when these stream announcements go out, these ones, you notice how it's a little bit different, each one? These are all going through Gemma 3.12b on my local Olama server. There's a different one for Discord, Twitch, Kick, different one for Discord, Matrix, Blue Sky, and Mastodon.
Which is roughly where it sits for me. Then we're looking at something kind of shocking. That would cost roughly $3,771.30 a year for Paul versus $717.90 for me.
Damn!
My running cost is 19% of Paul's yearly total. Remember, that's per year. However, a huge caveat is that we both have solar with battery storage, so much of the actual cost is free sunshine. We also both participate in virtual power plants or VPPs with our home batteries, so we get paid several $1,000s a year by the utility. I've got videos on all of that if you're interested. Also, my house is a little more airtight and insulated than his house, so I retain my heated and cooled air better, but more on that in a minute. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Paul made significant improvements to his system during his first year. He shortened the ductwork runs in the attic, reducing the distance that heated and cooled air has to travel. That single change improved his system efficiency by about 15%. Think about that for a second. Optimizing the ductwork design made a double-digit difference in energy use, simply by moving air more efficiently over shorter distances and reducing energy losses. And Paul's not done. He's still upgrading. His basement still needs insulation, the attic hasn't been properly insulated yet after the ductwork changes, and there are more efficiency gains coming. Meanwhile, my system performance has been pretty stable since installation because everything was optimized from the start.
Oh yeah, you built your house with this in mind.
Efficiency-wise, heat pumps are at their best in mild weather. They lose more and more of that efficiency the colder the weather gets. In the summer, both systems perform well. Air conditioning is basically the same operation for both geothermal and air source. My geothermal system has an advantage because the ground is cooler than the outside air, even on a 95-degree day or 35 degrees Celsius, but the difference is not dramatic. Winter is where things get interesting. When it's 20 degrees Fahrenheit or -7 degrees Celsius outside, my geothermal system is exchanging heat with 50 degree Fahrenheit or 10 degrees Celsius ground. That's a much easier lift than Paul's air source system trying to extract heat from that cold outside air. His system has to work harder and occasionally needs to run defrost cycles. And defrost cycles are when the outdoor unit temporarily reverses to melt ice buildup on the coils. During defrost, the system isn't heating your house, Most modern systems use backup resistance heating during defrost to keep things comfortable. The problem is, that's effectively running an electric space heater, which isn't super efficient. Paul noticed this in his first winter, especially on those humid but cold days when ice would form up on the outdoor units. He connected the defrost signal wires that the HVAC contractor failed to bother with. Now the heat pump can tell the air handler to turn on the heat strips during this defrost cycle. Paul's wife no longer needs to wonder why the AC is on in the middle of winter, sometimes several times a day during single-digit cold snaps. I don't have to deal with those defrost cycles at all. The ground temperature is stable, so there's no ice buildup, reversing cycles, or backup heat needed.
That's a good thing to know.
Is geothermal worth the extra?
Big Wi-Fi issues. Any suggestions to switch out my modern combo?
Was around $99,000.
Well, you're leaving out a bunch of info.
Paul's total system cost was about $69,000. Yes, I spent almost $100,000 before incentives, but after that 30% federal tax rebate on the core parts of the system, it came in at $75,000. That includes all the ductwork and labor for a new house, so keep that in mind.
That's actually not too bad.
Completely removing and redoing all the ductwork, as well as the ERV, and my system includes the ERV as well. If you were to focus in on just the cost of the main system without all
Is
the
OpenClaw safe or gives virus?
you'd subtract about $21,000 from mine.
It depends on how you do it.
Or so from Paul's. However, that's a very rough guess because of the labor cost estimate. That would mean the systems would be around $48,000 for Paul's and $54,000 for mine. My system was projected to cost about half as much to operate each year compared to an equivalent air source system that I looked at for my specific house. Now, these operational savings would have been roughly $1,000 in annual savings. At that rate, the payback period for my specific setup would be about 14 to 15 years. But here's where things get complicated. If I compared my operational costs to Paul's, which was around the equivalent of $3,000 a year, my system would pay off its premium compared to his system in about 2 years.
Damn.
So why the huge difference between the comparable air source quote that I got for my house versus Paul's air source system? Why is one $1,000 a year savings versus $3,000 compared to Paul's? A lot of that I think can be chalked up to the differences between the high R value of my home's insulation. We're talking about much thicker walls with minimal thermal bridging and air tightness compared to Paul's house. The bottom line, I think my house's construction and design is doing a lot of the heavy lifting there. However, Paul's system is still improving. That 15% efficiency gain from better ductwork.
So heat pumps can't heat your house if it's too cold and extract air from outside.
His operating costs could drop further, which could reduce more of that gap. There's also longevity to consider. Geothermal ground loops can last 50 years or more. The indoor equipment might need replacing after 20 to 25 years.
That's still a good lifetime.
Outdoor units typically last 15 to 20 years before replacement. Paul and I both face something called the spark gap problem. That's the difference between the cost of electricity and the cost of natural gas in your area. New England has some of the most expensive electricity in the continental United States. That makes heat pumps less economically attractive here than in cheaper electricity markets. If you live somewhere with cheap electricity, heat pumps are a no-brainer. But Massachusetts and Connecticut, you need to be smart about it. Proper insulation, good ductwork design, and efficient equipment all matter more here. This is also why Paul's 15% efficiency improvement from his ductwork is such a big deal.
It'll be easier to put them in a shed so they don't have to overfreeze. No, you do need to exhaust the... they need to have airflow, but also you can't have them too far because then you'll have to expense more energy to have them transfer the energy.
Should you choose? Well, it kind of depends on your situation, your timeline.
Thermal energy.
Geothermal makes sense if you're building new or doing a major renovation. When you're already tearing everything up, the incremental cost is manageable. For instance, it could be rolled up into the mortgage, like I did. US data shows payback periods ranging from 3 years to a decade. You also need space for a vertical well or horizontal ground loop. Companies like Dandelion Energy have compact drilling rigs that fit in tighter lots. If you have room for a horizontal loop, you'll save significantly compared to
the loft with vents to let them vent out.
For me, geothermal was the right choice. I was building new with a long-term mindset.
You still want them... I don't think you want that inside your house.
For the decades that I plan to live
You still need to have it vent the air out. You want it outside because,
negative 15 degrees Fahrenheit
it's transferring that thermal energy away.
Ductwork installation costs drop dramatically. Air Source also offers flexibility. Paul has 2 systems for redundancy. If one fails during a winter vacation, the house won't freeze. That peace of mind matters when you've eliminated all fossil fuel backup. For Paul, retrofitting with good air source equipment was the right call. The upfront cost was comparable once you factor in all the renovation ductwork. And he's getting excellent comfort with efficiency that's way better than any fossil fuel burning furnace. On top of that, we're both mostly powering our systems with free sunshine. And over time, the grid power that our homes are using in winter is becoming more and more renewable. One of the key takeaways was that there's a lot you can do to make your home more energy efficient with proper insulation, windows, and so on, just as Paul found out.
But now that I have it all figured out and working, oh man, it feels good. I understand it all. I totally get it. Everything's tuned right. It's quite comfortable. And now my electric bills next winter, they are going to be less than the last two.
The real winner isn't one technology or the other. It's the heat pump concept itself. Moving heat.
Yeah, I've done some efficiency upgrades in the house here, but I'm not doing a lot more because I do plan to move out in a few years.
So if you're ditching your gas furnace or oil boiler, too hung up on geothermal versus air source, focus on equipment that's suited to your climate and properly sized for your home, with good insulation, quality installation, and finding a contractor who actually knows what they're doing. Get those fundamentals right, and either technology will serve you well. At the end of the day, heat pumps rock, no matter which kind you choose. But what do you think? Are you team geothermal or team air source? Or are you still burning dinosaurs in your basement? Jump in the comments and let me know. And be sure to listen to my follow-up podcast, Still to be Determined, where I'll have the full conversation with Paul coming out soon. Thanks as always to my patrons for your continued support and for helping to keep the channel going. Keep your mind open.
Eventually I'll go to
Stay
fully electric when I have my own solar system and everything, but this house can't support it. It's just, I looked into it. It's not worth it for so many reasons. And I don't plan to be here for that long. I already had to put new windows and fix a hole in the roof, so I put enough into the house, and I'm at the point where I'll still make a profit walking away from the house when everything's said and done. So I think I'm still happy there. Okay, let's see. Follow up on the design a PCB to test a PCB. Wait, didn't we see this video?
Previous video, we talked about our test.
Yeah, I thought we saw this video. No, okay, we saw that.
On the back of the PV Pi, so that we can program and test the PV Pis before shipment. But we really didn't get into how we were going to do that automated testing and programming. So in this video, we're going to deep dive into the work we've been doing in order to automate our test and program procedure, all in preparation to ship out over 500 PV Pis. We hope you like these little behind the scenes looks at the work we've been doing, as we really enjoy sharing this information with you. I'm joined again by Matt, who's going to talk us through how you automate the testing of over 500 PCBs. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Right, so we'll pick up where we left off last time.
So we talked last time a lot about this fixture and how it interfaces with the PV Pi through all these probe connections.
Yep.
But I think we had some questions last time about what's inside the fixture and how that actually works. What's inside the box? There is a few things that make the magic happen. We can see all these wires and they're coming down from the test points that we just talked about. We have a few other things. So we've got our ST-Link, which is used for programming the MCU on the PV Pi. We also have a USB to serial converter, as well as, quite critically, the Raspberry Pi Picos. So this is kind of the...
So you're using a Raspberry Pi to program a Raspberry Pi board.
Probing, and then that's essentially hooked up to a couple of power supplies and a battery. And this board here essentially breaks out the Pico Pi's connections and does all sorts of voltage measurements and control of different inputs.
Basically, this little setup here, we're testing a whole bunch of things, but we've also got it kind of set up in a lab testy way, as if it was out in the field. So we're basically probing it at a bunch of different points in the circuit, and then we're doing some basic testing on the hardware, but then we're going to pretend it's out in the field.
Yeah.
We've got some different power supplies that we're set to different voltages. That's all the basic functionality is still working.
Yeah, exactly. Essentially like turning on input voltages like they're a solar panel, and charging a battery is a critical one, obviously. But, you know, talking over the serial communication, exactly how you'll be talking to your PV Pis, kind of just emphasizing all of the key functionalities on the board to make sure it's all working correctly before we ship them out to you guys.
All right, so talk me through a bit about exactly what this is doing. So we looked and we saw that, you know, we're basically probing the circuit at different locations on the PV Pi. So we're basically wired in via this test harness.
Yeah, that's correct. So we have this big test harness coming up to this bed of nails. Yeah. If our board sits on there. Yeah. That runs us down to this set of connectors on this board, and then essentially we're probing all of those different points on the board. So from
Interesting.
voltages,
Points when you get your PV Pi,
Yep.
you can see which ones correspond to which
exactly.
ones.
You know, your classic voltage rails, things like that. This board takes care of doing all those measurements. We've got pretty good coverage on this board, so we wouldn't expect much to fail.
I can see we've got quite a lot of wires here. What other sort of testing are we doing?
There's a good amount that's kind of... Actually, maybe we'll step back to the start. So some of the measurements we take at the start are...
Raspberry Pi powered by Raspberry Pi, pretty much.
About checking resistors on the board that are really critical to the design. Take, for example, there's a resistor on there that sets the maximum charge current that this board can output. So if that was set too low or too high, a manufacturer accidentally added a wrong resistor, you'd either have a product that doesn't work at high charge rates or would operate too high and potentially damage itself.
Right.
You could kind of design a fixture. It would be quite complicated to run at those maximum charge currents and functionally check that, but just practically it's quite a difficult design. So there's some cases where we're doing resistance measurements to check those kind of things. So you can see on the board here, the Pi Pico only has so many inputs. I think it's got about 3, whereas we need, I think we're using about 15 or 20. So the easy way to do that is using these here, which are called an analog multiplexer. So essentially it's got 16 channels a piece. And then with just a couple of GPIOs from the Pi Pico, we can change to the different channels we want. So we could select the feedback voltage or the LED voltages, and they kind of correlate to points on the board. We select them, feed them into the ADC on the Pi Pico, and then just read that voltage back.
While we're on the topic of our tester PCB, I'd like to stop and thank our PCB sponsor, Avon, who manufactured the PVPi test board. And right now, Avon offers up to $60 off new users when they get their first PCB prototype manufactured. Avon is a one-stop PCB manufacturing and assembly supplier. Simply upload your Gerber files and your assembly instructions, and Avon will do the rest. As I said, Avon manufactured and assembled our PVPi tester, and they did a great job. And this is the PCB we'll be using throughout our production run. So thanks for Avon for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to the main.
Interesting.
Okay, so we're probing the different voltages, measuring things like resistors, outputs, kind of charging the battery at one point, I think. Inputs. Before all that, though, we need to program it.
This is true. So the other side, so what will kind of happen is those resistance measurements, the voltage measurements. The next thing to program the board. So on the board, we have a little STM microcontroller.
Okay.
Make connection to these pins here, which is the programming interface. And we essentially just hook that into an ST link, and then we have a bit of an automated program running to load the firmware files on there.
Oh, so test and program. Everything all in once.
So we've got our 20 volts and our 20 our 20 volts and our 12.5 volts. Both sets 1 amp hooked up over there, and we're ready to go to run our test. I press enter. First thing that happens is we get some resistance readouts, and then we're going through and reading some voltages. Now what's happening is we're drawing 1 amp at 20 volts. Sorry, it just flicked off because it finished that test. We'll probably be about to see this one go though. So this one's just running that. Does a little MPPT cycle, which is why we saw the voltage come down there. Sets to the max current. There's still some failures in here. They are mostly to do with timing and getting, I was talking to Luke about this before, getting kind of the PPT cycle and timing to line up. There's a big art in this kind of testing to timing where if you had all the time in the world, you'd just set, 20, 30-second delays, let it all settle, and it'll be fine. Having to test 550 of these, it's just, we want to keep that test time to an absolute minimum. So trying to work out ways to optimize that timing.
So you're saying like we switch on the power supply, we got to wait for everything to settle before we take a reading.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, cool. So we'll eventually have a whole production line here. We've got our bins set up as well. We're just waiting.
Interesting.
On the boards at the moment.
Yes.
So
if they build their own PCB,
700 cables.
Build your own PC motherboard. Maybe. Although a PC motherboard's a little bit involved.
We're waiting.
Ready to go.
Yeah, exciting day.
Indeed. Yeah.
So thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed that little behind the scenes look. We'll be putting out another video when we get our first full production batch, and we'll take you through our process and our packaging and shipping of the boards. There was a small delay in the manufacturing as we were unable to get the bare PCBs finished before the Lunar New Year, which then delayed the assembly process, but we're only about a week or 2 behind schedule and still should get everything done by our original timeline. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
It's interesting seeing that board come to life. We've been keeping an eye on that little PVPi. Okay. Apparently that does not work anymore. Age verification lobbying website. That was up a week ago. HBX had that. I'm gonna see if archive.org has something on it. Yep, okay, it looks like we got a hit. Don't know why it didn't work. Oh yeah, so this has to do with the Meta lobbyists that okay, so this has to deal with that we found Meta was behind lobbying a bunch of the age verification laws that we've seen go on around the country, possibly the world. So yeah, nothing really surprising at this point. We're just catching up with content that was there for the last week or so. So what's this? I built wall hacks in real life.
Of a human that's in front of it. It's basically like little thing is called an wave sensor, and it can detect the location of a human that's in front of it. It's basically like whale echolocation sonar, but with radio waves. And the military's
okay.
Stuff like this for a while, but you can't buy it. And the people who can buy it, it's like $100 grand.
They're hacking, bro.
How about a 98% markdown? Just buy it from the YouTuber. Until these come out for $8. So now
wait, what?
There's a man who's played Call of Duty who now knows how to like put two wires together. I built the heartbeat sensor from Call of Duty. I walk about. Well, you thought there's two of me, and my dog is right outside the door right there. No way it's detecting him, right? Dude, it's detecting my stinking dog through the wall. So boom.
Damn!
All done, right? Wrong. Yeah, as soon as you pick it up, it goes nuts. Like it thinks there's people everywhere. These things work by detecting movement, like your mouth breathing. And as soon as you pick it up, it thinks everything is moving. And like go through walls, the cardboard walls in America. But obviously, it's not the exact same gigahertz as the $60,000 one.
Doing big enemy back here.
Apparently, they banned that so people don't go, curing their insatiable desire to rob a bank or something.
Comment right now, tell me if it worked.
So if you're following along and want true wall hacks against intruders, you're gonna need three things. But first, honor system. If you are an FBI agent, please close your eyes. Okay, step one, get the nerd computer board.
Look at that.
Make sure it's battery powered and sends out the human radar data over Wi-Fi. Don't steal my Wi-Fi password. I'm a great big boy. Precision map of your house, like down to the
Yeah, that's kind of fun. So I kind of figured somebody would eventually be doing that. Hold on. What's this? Have I looked at this? Review. Wi-Fi dense pose turns commodity Wi-Fi signals. Oh, I've heard about this kind of stuff. I don't know if it's this specific project, but yeah, the people have been using Wi-Fi waves to tell where people are for years. This was I think an MIT paper many years ago. But yeah, you can do this with pretty much any radio signals. People are like, oh, you can do this with Wi-Fi. You can do it with any radio signal. It's just that radio, well, Wi-Fi is just one of the most accessible radio signals that we have. All right, now what's this? Screw gigabyte. It's just make $15 to build a ESP32 board. Yeah, those ESP32s are something else.
Our generation grow up to be furries. You're joking, right? Because attractive anthropomorphic creatures have been a staple in media for the past 2 to 3 decades.
Yep.
I'm just curious as to why so many people our age latched onto this idea. This one scene could end the whole discussion. I mean, it's
Jessica Rabbit. Yep.
There was a lot of furries before our age group. This one had a profound effect on me at the age of 7. There has to have been a cosmic event that changed so many people's preferences. This one could have also played a factor. Looking into
it.
Like trying to crack the Da Vinci Code. This one came out in the 70s. I need you to understand how deep this rabbit hole goes.
God damn.
I just blame the internet in general because I don't know where else this could have come from. As a 6-year-old, I wanted to marry her, and I was completely just be one of life's great mysteries. It didn't help that a lot of animes also leaned into this pretty hard. Kind of like the
God damn.
It got a little freaky. Speaking of freaky,
They just went too long with it.
this movie did irreparable damage to our age group, but I guess there's really no point in trying to figure it out. And they just made a second one. But at the end of the day, I just don't know. What do you think? I think that I'm not even a furry, but if you genuinely don't understand what happened, you clearly missed the decades-long indoctrination session that all of our collective little minds were subjected to. How did so many people in our generation...
Watching you on Parrot OS 7. Yeah, I got Parrot OS 7 upstairs in the laptop next to my bed. When toys are off-brand, Stephen He. Alright. How could we not?
You have other Avengers, right? You have Incredible Hulk. We have Incredible Fella. You got Rocket Raccoon.
Fedora Ron.
How is Fedora Ron from Avengers Endless Torso? Ron's not even included. You got Transformers. We have Titanic Bar. You got Toy Story. We have Boy Deformation. You got Robot.
Boy Deformation.
Successful. They actually made a sequel. Robot Cop 2. You got Star Wars, we have Space Power Warriors. You got Spock, we have Mr. Rock. You got R2-D2. Of course, how could we not? R2 Steve 2. Steve 3PO.
Steve 3PO.
Character's favorite toys now. That just give me a boring, generic, plain animal figure. Of course, yeah, we have a great selection of them. Thank you very much. I take one.
Weird dogs.
Jesus. You have.
Oh. That was good. Alright, let's see. What's this?
DPS, how are you doing? Not great. One of the attacks skimmed me. Tank, how about you? DPS, how are you doing? Not great. One of the attacks skimmed me. Tank, how about you?
That took me a second. Alright, we may have one last video for the night. How to make Hydro smaller and better.
Imagine standing here next to this reservoir. Somewhere underneath the water's surface lies the town you used to live in.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
The plant in India was constructed. Up to 100,000 people had to pack up their things and leave.
That's effed.
Unusual story. Hydropower dams are monuments to progress, though they come at a huge cost. But what if we could harness the immense power of water without having to build destructive megastructures? Here are some promising examples. Let's follow the water, starting with a small creek, following the river downstream, and ending at the ocean. We begin our journey here, where the stream is still quite small. We find a little side arm, a canal, leading into the stream.
Oh!
It's a whirlpool, generating energy. This is a vortex power plant.
Seems clever and simple. Yeah!
Water flows into a round basin. This one's about 4 meters wide. In the middle there's a small turbine with wide blades. As the water swirls down like in a bathtub drain, it spins the turbine, which drives a generator. The result? Enough electricity for around 15 average European households.
That's great!
Not huge, but imagine a couple of these along existing canals or streams, hidden away on the side, powering nearby homes, farms, or public buildings. They can be installed quickly, and maintenance is simple too. A filter at the inlet keeps out large debris, and if something clogs, you just let water flow through the bypass. This cleans the filter in a matter of seconds. Usually, fish the size of a small trout can swim right through. Unlike big dams that block migration routes, these small power plants barely disturb the river. Still,
I like it.
Vortex power plants can change how the river flows and the habitats within it. That's why some people have developed different designs, like this Belgian company. They've coated their turbine blades with rubber to make sure fish and other animals aren't harmed. In fact, the vortex basin often turns into a little biotope. Mosses and algae grow, crustaceans and small fish settle in, oxygen levels rise, creating a mini ecosystem. But despite these advantages, there are just about 35 of these power plants in the world.
Really?
As they are less efficient than their bigger cousins, their output is naturally smaller too, given their much smaller size. So, these plants are
the water park for fish.
Communities, factories, or mini-grids. For areas with bigger power needs, they are a hard sell.
One thing is small hydropower is fairly complicated compared to, let's say, solar.
That's Lydia Powell, a public policy advisor and expert.
I'd love to like be near like a river or something where I could install something like that, as well as like have solar. Just have multiple renewable sources feeding into a bank of power and then feed that into the grid. So imagine like your community has a battery bank, and then that bank is there for overflow, well, not overflow, but for interruptions and when, you know, power gets cut off from different areas, as well as outages. And if there's an outage from the grid, you can at least maintain power in your neighborhood. I think that'd be a great idea, and then you could still feed power into the grid. But yeah.
On renewable energies. But in remote areas with small streams or canals, it could be a smart, cheap, minimally invasive and decentralized solution. Our next stop, a big river. Here, the fundamental idea is even simpler. Just float a turbine in the current. That's the principle behind the Stromboje, or power buoy. It looks a bit like a submarine hull with a propeller. Anchored in the flow of the river, the rotor spins as the water pushes past it, turning the kinetic energy of the river's current into electricity. The technology has been in development for nearly 2 decades and suffered many setbacks. Some designs clogged too easily, others didn't produce enough power or had a tough time transmitting the energy onto land. However, those working on improvements now claim that earlier flaws have been fixed and that output is finally high enough to make the floating power plant commercially viable. The idea is to have dozens of these buoys lined up in a stream, forming a floating power farm in the river.
Now that seems interesting.
This is where the world's first hydrokinetic turbine power farm was supposed to be built. But the installed turbine didn't meet expectations. After a successful start, output kept dropping. A quick fix could be found. So the project was abandoned in early 2025. But shortly after, another company took over the existing infrastructure. Using a smaller and slightly different design, their planned farm would boast 124 devices, delivering power to hundreds of households, so-called energy fish. They claim tests have shown the plan is feasible, but if it works at scale, remains to be seen. Still, the advantages are tempting. No dams, no flooding, fish can swim past, and the buoy can be moved or removed if needed. Proponents of the technology see huge potential in big streams all over the world. There might also be potential in using it in strong tidal currents.
I'd like to see that technology actually succeed, but yeah, we have to see if there's more results from it.
Streams at 70 gigawatts.
Damn!
That's equivalent to the capacity of almost 30 dams like the one in Tehri in India. So, if this technology proves efficient enough for island nations or river communities, kinetic turbines could eventually become a local and renewable power source.
70 gigawatts! Dr. Brown was freaking out over 1.21 gigawatts!
Now we've reached the mouth of the river, the place where fresh water meets the sea. And here is where another interesting hydropower idea is being tested: osmotic energy. The concept makes use of the different salinity of each water type.
Say what?
DW visited the world's first osmotic power plant in Norway in 2010.
Okay, I'm gonna need this one explained to me.
To see how this works.
An osmotic power plant exploits the difference between river water's low salt concentration and the high salinity of seawater to generate energy.
Okay.
River water and seawater are separated by a membrane. The fresh water, shown in green, flows through the membrane to balance the salt concentration and pushes water to the top on the seawater side. That osmotic pressure can be used to run a power-generating turbine.
The membrane, that is really the heart of the system.
This is Stein Erik,
What?
a Norwegian energy expert. Back then, he was the project lead of the...
You did not just reference Osmosis Jones, Abby. You just unlocked a childhood memory right there. Osmosis Jones, fuck's sake.
First pilot osmotic power plant in Tofte in Norway. And this is him today.
I must say that that was quite a great experience when we saw that we did in fact create the pressurized water which could operate the turbine.
The concept of osmotic energy has been around for decades. Norway really had high hopes for the technology, but announced in 2013 that it would discontinue its efforts and leave the technology development to other players in the global market.
The amount of water you needed to transport in pipes, channels, tunnels, whatever, that in itself was very expensive. We have shown that it works, but the next step is to make it commercially viable.
One of the takeaways from the test plant in Norway was that most river
Yeah, this seems extremely inefficient.
to set up such a plant. Osmosis works best where there are even higher differences in salt concentrations.
As long as you have high concentrations versus low, then you can sort of harvest energy this way.
That's Sandra Kentish, a chemical engineering professor and membrane researcher at the University of Melbourne. Today, there are 2 working osmotic power plants in the world, one in Denmark and one in Fukuoka, Japan. Neither of them uses the difference between river and seawater. The Danish project uses the brine from a salt mine.
Okay.
Brine has a much higher salt concentration than seawater. And it's not only regular salt, sodium chloride, that can be used for osmotic power generation.
Sodium chloride, potassium chloride, lithium chloride, it doesn't matter as long as you have a high ionic strength, so a lot of ions, a lot of salt. It doesn't matter what salt it is.
The other existing osmotic power plant in Fukuoka in Japan just opened in 2025. Here, osmosis works its magic using treated wastewater and concentrated brine from a desalination plant to power its turbines.
Didn't know these actually existed already, okay?
In the future, and figure out a way to use seawater instead. Because, well, about 97% of the world's water is seawater. Cost remains the biggest challenge. Membranes are still expensive and only efficient under certain circumstances. That means electricity from osmotic power still costs way more than from other renewables.
I honestly don't think it's ever going to be river water, seawater, but maybe somebody comes up with a spectacularly better membrane next week, and we get there.
These 3 examples show that it's possible to harness the power of water in gentle ways and in certain circumstances.
Villages can generate, use, and sell electricity. They become economic agents of transformation. I think we need to look at these niche solutions as much because they can affect the demand side of the equation.
None of these solutions will replace huge dams tomorrow, but combined with other technologies, they could add to a clean energy mix.
Interesting.
Centralized systems around the clock and in all seasons.
I don't know about that osmosis one, but I like the other ones. Salt on fish and chips. What if there's a tsunami? Does that mean too much parity?
Work best in your country? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like this kind of videos, don't forget to hit subscribe.
All right. Well, it's getting out of the late, guys. So, I'm gonna get to bed, but thank you all for joining me. Make sure, if you haven't already, to follow me on all of my socials. The links are in the bio. I am on Twitch, Kick, YouTube. We're gonna have plenty of YouTube videos coming. I have scripts I'm working on, videos I need to record and edit and all of that. But follow me on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, Mastodon, and join the Discord, join the Matrix. The links are in the bio for all of that if you don't see them in the chat. And I may stream again tomorrow, maybe do some gaming on Linux. We'll see. But otherwise, the next official stream, if not, is Sunday night. So I will see you all then. Stick around for the raid if you're over on Twitch. Love you all. Stay safe and happy hacking.